Cardinals. Big Mark McGwire, though, did have a big first inning, as did the Redbirds. They only scored 11 in the first set.
Oh, that is ugly for the Cubs. Some bad D and some bad pitching.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Cubs led this game 3-0 in the top of the first. After one, it was 11-3, 16-3 is the final. How about this crowd in Houston? You don't think they're pumped up about the big unit, huh?
That's the biggest crowd since Game 3 of last year's playoff. He's doing what they were supposed to do, and Randy Johnson doing what he's supposed to do.
They had a 50,000-plus crowd way back in 1966 there. A man named Sandy Koufax once pitched in the Astrodome. Randy Johnson now 2-0, 8 strikeouts for the Astros. Mets climbing back in the wild card. Bobby Valentine says his team's going to make it. If Mike Piazza hits like this, they got a chance.
Piazza swinging, stepping in the bucket, stepping into the dugout, swinging with one arm, and still out of the yard. The guy's strong.
Mets hang on and win at 8-7. They're just a game and a half back in the National League wild card. Hey, how about the Dodgers? They guaranteed a postseason berth.
It's not looking good, is it?
5 back are the Dodgers in the wild card. In the American League wild card, Boston by 6 over Anaheim. Baltimore's made a huge charge. They're 7.5 back.
Boston plays a lot of home games down the stretch. That's going to make a big difference for them.
Well, as you know, Steve, the trade deadline's come and gone, but that doesn't mean the movement around the majors is over. Actually, far from it. Time to get you caught up with it on our Fox Insider. According to Fox sources, the A's are expected to replace manager Art Howe at the end of the season. And sources also say that former Royal manager and Gold Glove catcher for the Phillies, Bob Boone, has emerged as the leading candidate to replace Howe as A's manager. Fox Insider sources report that the Padres will make every effort to re-sign their ace 14-game winner Kevin Brown, and it will probably take at least $10 million a year to retain him. That's good news for Brown. Maybe bad news, though, for third baseman Ken Caminiti and center fielder Steve Finley. The signing of Brown would probably signal the departures of one or both of those players from the San Diego roster this offseason. Sources also say that San Diego did receive permission to obtain Randy Myers only after promising owner John Moores that they will trade Myers' big salary this winter. Myers has $12 million due him over the next 2 years, and with Trevor Hoffman, there really wasn't a need for Myers. But, Steve, this is obviously a preemptive strike by the Padres to keep Myers off the Atlanta Braves roster.
Absolutely. I was surprised that he fell that far down the waiver wire to the 3 best records in baseball. That's the only reason they picked him up, and they will pick up any pitcher that goes on the waiver wire just so that the Braves can't get him. The San Diego's doing what they have to do, and you know what? Myers has been part of this before. He was in the Nasty Boys with Charlton and Myers and Dibble, and Trevor Hoffman will be able to handle this situation. He's got a lot of class, and he doesn't care who's on that team as long as they win. Lefty-righty in the playoffs looks good.
How about the Cubs? They're 5.5 behind the Astros now. The Central Division race in the National League, a whole new dimension with the addition of Randy Johnson to the Astro team, and now Houston gets Billy Wagner back off the disabled list.
This is a very, very good team, the best offense in the National League, and Randy Johnson is a myth. He's like a legend in the National League. They haven't faced him. He's got the great fastball, but he's also got a devastating, filthy slider. He goes backdoor with it and down and into the righties. They try to stack their lineups with right-handed hitters. That doesn't work.
Randy Johnson 2-0 and pitching great so far for the Houston Astros. Well, the most anticipated, Steve, and inspirational story of the summer has finally arrived. I can't believe it. Somebody wanted you to come back and play for them?
Can you believe it? I got an offer to come back and play baseball, but I was so bad. I was out of shape. I had to get back in shape somehow.
Yeah!
It's the beautiful morning.
Good afternoon, everybody. 12:16. Time for you to wake up, psycho.
It can't be 12:16 already.
Time to go training.
My tongue feels like a wool sweater. Oh, look at you. What have you done to yourself? You used to be a big leaguer, a champion. I'm going to prove it to you that I can come back, even if it is just for one day.
Who needs training? I played this game my whole life. No problem.
I've got plenty of time to get in shape. There's no big rush.
Goofy, you're the man. Are we related? What? What do you want, Clyde? Oh, I get it. Here we go. Here you are. Yeah, atta baby. freeze until I went to Philadelphia and I had to run up those steps from that movie.
I can't do it. I need some help.
I gotta tell you, I've been trying, but I have no discipline. I gotta check in with the king of fitness, Jack LaLanne. Makes me hungry, too. Do you have a cookie or anything?
A cookie? I bet you've never done anything that got you that tired that quickly, right?
Can't think of anything right offhand.
You're going to do it.
All right. I feel good now. I feel great.
Hallelujah!
Oh, yeah, now I'm ready. Give me a... I gotta get quick. Gotta have quick feet. What am I doing? I'm making a baseball comeback. Come on, throw me your gas.
Psycho, you can't catch me.
Make your move.
Psycho, tú es muy loco.
Oh, yeah. I've paid the price. Now it's payoff time. Next week, Chip, it's game time with the Massachusetts Mad Dogs. Make the comeback.
Perfect team name
Yes,
for
it
you.
is. The Mad
Well, while
Dogs.
you continue your comeback next Saturday, Steve, some real pros tomorrow take center stage here on Fox.
There'll be no love lost when the biggest rivals in tennis take it to court in an elite showdown at the Toshiba Tennis Classic. Only one will be left standing on top of the Women's Tour in a prelude to the U.S. Open. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, live on Fox.
All right, friends, next, a tale of the tape. Tape-measured home runs, that is. It's Slammin' Sammy Sosa and his 43 jacks against 45 home run man Mark McGwire. The run to break 61 is next with the Cubs and Cardinals from Busch Stadium. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver are standing by with the call.
Welcome to St. Louis, Missouri for one of the greatest rivalries in sports today. The Chicago Cubs take on the St. Louis Cardinals on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. Fans have packed into Busch Stadium, eagerly anticipating the home run derby continuing today. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. A look at the wild card standings. The Cubs, a game-and-a-half lead over New York and 2 full games over the Giants. However, the Cubs and Mets even on the loss side in the wild card chase. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Joe Buck along with my partner, Tim McCarver. Well, Tim, last night was embarrassing for the Chicago Cubs. A 16-3 win for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yet, for the most part, this has been an offensive kind of year in a good sense for the Chicago Cubs.
This season has been as good a season as last year was bad. As a matter of fact, the Chicago Cubs about 17 games over last year's performance, 17 games better off. The earned run average was about the same, is about the same. The batting average about the same. But look at the home runs. Already 142 home runs while having only 127 last year. And the main reason, Sammy Sosa. Who leads the National League in RBIs? No, it's not Mark McGwire. No, Mark McGwire does not lead it in total bases. But Sammy Sosa, of course, he's second behind McGwire in home runs. And I think that Sammy Sosa, thus far, has been the MVP in the National League.
I thought you were going to start a little song there. Who leads the National League in RBIs? It's Sammy. What do you think?
Sammy, SOS.
There you go. For the Cardinals, it's all McGwire. I mean, right now, the Cardinals are not playing very well as a ball club, although they've picked it up of late. But you look at the numbers for Mark McGwire and that home run watch, he is the lead dog in this Roger Maris chase.
It is phenomenal what he has done at Busch Stadium this year. 25 home runs and only 170 at-bats. 6 home runs in 10 games against the Cubs.
And homerless in his last 28 at-bats, so everybody's saying, what's going on with McGwire? Well, we're about to find out. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, the Cardinals and the Cubs. First pitch coming up after this from your local Fox station, your home of the 1998 NLCS and the World Series.
watching Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week.
And there he is in the dugout with his glasses on and ready to head out to the field as we're a little behind schedule today. We've got room with which to play, Tim.
Yes, that's right,
unbelievable.
Joe. Yes, it is.
The umpire's a little tardy getting out there for the meeting at home plate, so we give you a look at the MCI starting lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Cubs fans are going, that's a typo. What? Blauser's leading off, playing shortstop. Mickey Morandini batting second, at second with Mark Grace hitting third, at first. And then Sammy. He's got 43 home runs. In his last 63 games, he's gone deep 34 times. Glenn Allen Hill makes the start in right. If you notice, Sosa's in center with Hernandez at third, Henry Rodriguez in left, Scott Service is catching, and Mark Clark is pitching and batting ninth. How about the Cardinal defense? Well, these days it stacks up like this. No surprises in the outfield with Gant, Langford, and Jordan. Remember, Fernando Tatis is now the third baseman here in St. Louis. More to talk about with regard to Tatis and that position. McGwire, he's a Gold Glove Award winner back in the American League in 1990 with the Oakland A's, and it's Eli Marrero catching. The left-hander Donovan Osborne, who has been on the disabled list for 3 months with a bad shoulder. And in the shadow of the arch in a jam-packed Busch Stadium, with those kids hoping for a McGwire autograph before the game starts, we get ready for baseball here on a Saturday afternoon. Did they get the memo we sent down that this game starts at 12:15?
They did. Yes, they did. Let's hope they don't think it starts at 1:15 Central Time.
That's right. But we are waiting for the Cardinals to take the field. And here they come. Led there by Donovan Osborne and Mark McGwire, and the Cardinals, who won 16-3 here last night, take the field. Well, the hitting star for the Chicago Cubs and number 2 in the Roger Maris chase is Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs. Here are his thoughts on that man, Jeff Pentland, the hitting instructor for the Chicago Cubs.
Well, I don't know about the fans, but I know the players are a little more excited that these guys are going head-to-head. I think on the field you could feel the excitement. You know, I don't know how McGwire felt, but I know our players were pretty excited to have somebody close to this guy as far as the kind of stats that are being put up this year.
Both Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire are ahead of not only Babe Ruth's pace, but Roger Maris's pace also, both of them.
So those are going to be our 2 highlights here this afternoon, but right now we highlight Donovan Osborne, the Cardinal left-hander, and he is one of the 3 guys the Cardinals really counted on coming into the season in their rotation. And Tim, you look at the numbers, he's making only a 6th start. He's been bothered by a bad shoulder.
He is tickled to death that he can be highlighted on this game of the week. Donovan Osborne has not pitched in 3 weeks. And our scouting report, if he is right, shows a deadly curveball that goes straight down. A lot of deadly things on there. Change up when he throws it in the strike zone. And obviously his durability has been an issue. As a matter of fact, in his major league career, which has spanned about 7 years, he has spent more time on the disabled list than he has on the active roster, which is extraordinary.
Yet with all of that, this guy is still one of the better left-handers with regard to natural ability and raw stuff that you run across these days in the big leagues. And we'll see how he fares here today on about a 90-pitch limit as he takes on the Chicago Cubs. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Glad you're with us on Fox on a Saturday afternoon, and Jeff Blauser will lead it off for Chicago, just a .231 hitter. It'll be Blauser, Morandini, and Grace. And a ball from the Cardinal left-hander. Blauser has not had the type of year that he had hoped for, or the Cubs had hoped for, when he left Atlanta and through free agency became a Cub. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's Jimmy Riggleman, who typically, at least against right-handers, has had Brant Brown in that leadoff spot. Against the lefty today, it's Blauser, and that's strike 2. Home plate umpire this afternoon is Jerry Crawford. He'll call the balls and strikes with Hallion at first, Davidson at second, and Gorman He is over at 30, worked the plate here last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was interesting, Joe. With Brant Brown out of the lineup, what the Cubs have done, they have bettered their offense with Clint Allen Hill in the ball game, but Jim Riggleman, suspect on defense today. That's a changeup from Donovan Osborne, and shows you how deceptive it was. Jeff Blauser just throwing his bat at it to stay alive, and he does. Doink. Madden would love that. That was a doink.
That was a doink, a whap, a pow. Madden and Batman, they love it. The bat ended up near second base. Sammy Sosa studying Donovan Osborne, and don't think that Sosa and McGwire, despite all that they say, aren't thrilled to be hooked up head-to-head in this series before a packed house in St. Louis. The 2-2 inside corner struck him out, 1 away.
Osborne stayed away from Blauser's strength, away from it, and then with 2 strikes came right inside. Normally that's where Blauser likes the ball, but when you see changeup, curveball, and then the fastball, it looks like it's about 120 miles an hour.
Not too much unlike the guy we watched last weekend, and Tom Glavine.
That's right.
Here's Morandini. Everything that Blauser hasn't been, Morandini has. This guy has been outstanding, and is right now 7th in the National League with an average of .326. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think one of the greatest traits for a player from another player, as you look at Mark Grace on deck, is to be called a gamer, and that's the quintessential word for this guy right here. Raw meat. Plays when he's hurt, plays every day, and plays very well.
2 balls, 2 strikes. We will lay the groundwork early for this, and you can track it if you wish. The home plate umpire today is Jerry Crawford. He got into one of the most heated arguments of the season with the Cardinal bench, and in particular Carney Lansford, earlier this season, where the two were going face-to-face, nose-to-nose. And we'll see how that plays out this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on, and Morandini a base hit to right. Nothing new from Mickey. He's on with 1 out here in the 1st inning.
While the curveball is very effective from a left-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter, normally it's a very dangerous pitch to a left-hander because of the tendency to hang it, and that's what Morandini hit, a hanging curveball.
So the shot to right, 1 on, 1 out for Mark Grace. Grace is 10th in the league, hitting .323. The numbers, the home runs, are pretty good for Mark Grace with 12, driven in 60, and that's foul. Nearly picked off Dan Radisson, the Cubs' first base coach. All this guy does, Tim, is hit.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago during that Met game. Look at the numbers for Mark Grace. While Tony Gwynn is a guy that everybody admires, Grace has been criticized for his lack of power, when in effect he has about as much power as Tony Gwynn and has been almost as good a hitter in the 90s.
There's a pitch that Osborne wanted, didn't get. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Sammy Sosa waits on deck with his 43 home runs tucked into his back pocket. McGwire has hit 45, and those two hook up here this afternoon. Neither went deep here last night. The 1-1. Now 2 balls and a strike from Osborne. Well, we told you at the start the Cubs come in 64 and 52 while they're 5.5 games out in the NL Central. They come in protecting a 1.5 game lead in the wild card race over the Mets. Just 2 games over San Francisco, and the Giants have picked it up. Adding Ellis Burks has helped, and inserting Marvin Bernard in the starting lineup has picked up the offense for Dusty Baker's team. Here's the 2-1. Into center for Langford, plenty of time. Grace is gone, and the batter will be Sosa with 1 on, 2 out here in the 1st inning. In walks Sammy with his 43 home runs. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Seattle and Detroit. You are in St. Louis now, and you're watching Sammy Sosa walking to the plate with a mixed reaction in this crowd. Every time the Cardinals and Cubs hook up, you see as many Cardinal fans in Wrigley as you do Cub fans, and vice versa here in St. Louis. So Sosa with his 43 home runs. That guy has 45. 1 on, 2 out. First inning, no score. Donovan Osborne, first start in 3 months. And a ball low to Sosa. As will be the case when McGwire's at the plate, you'll see the Cubs lining the top step of the dugout. The Cardinals checking out Sosa, and that's strike 1.
Joe, it's fashionable in our business to pit a guy like Sosa against a guy like McGwire, when normally the players really don't think of it like that. They say you got to go out and beat the other guys. But this, as much as any, is a matchup of Sosa versus McGwire.
1 ball, 1 strike on Sosa. And Osborne wants to slow it down. Donovan Osborne comes in with a record of just 1-2, only his 6th start of the year, and what a perfect day for him to come back in front of a standing room only crowd here in St. Louis and take on Sosa and the Cubs. 2-1. Mark McGwire hits third for the Cardinals. We'll see him in the bottom of the first inning, and if it gives us the opportunity to shoot that to the folks watching Seattle and Detroit, we'll do the same there. 2 balls and a strike, and that's into right and should end the inning. Jordan is there to make the play. Sosa 0 for 1. Sosa in center field, just his 5th start in center field this season, with Rodriguez to his right, Glenn Allen Hill to his left. That's not one of the better defensive outfields you'll find in baseball. And here's the right-hander, Mark Clark, 6-11.
6-11, and rather deceptive. He won his first 2 ball games of the year. His struggle since then, going only 4-11, but since the All-Star break has picked it up, and telling us before the game that a change in speeds in his fastball recently, one of the secrets to his success.
Kelly takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Pat Kelly is hitting .268. He has done a marvelous job leading off, playing second base. Strike 2 from Clark. Kelly, Jordan, and McGwire here in the first inning. And by the way, Sosa's 0 for 1. Griffey is 0 for 1, playing for Seattle against Detroit today. He flied out in his first at bat. 2-2 on Kelly. Just a little low, 3-2. You can tell already we are working with an extra tight strike zone here this afternoon with Jerry Crawford behind the plate. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And that's into right. Can't say easy for Glenn Allen Hill. He struggles in the outfield, but he puts that away, 1 down.
I think one of the things that makes McGwire particularly dangerous against a guy like Mark Clark is McGwire's a low ball hitter, and in order to be effective, Mark Clark has to stay down in the strike zone, but he throws a light sinker. Keep in mind that most sinker balls are heavy, not Mark Clark's, and that means that it can be lifted, and that's why Mark McGwire is doubly dangerous against a pitcher like Clark.
Now with 1 out, the bat is Jordan, and a strike from Clark. As we told you last week, Jordan absolutely stunned that he was not traded before the deadline. So here he is, in essence, finishing out his time in St. Louis before likely becoming a free agent at the end of the year. And that's into right. And that's for Glenn Allen Hill. And that's out number 2. And the batter will be McGwire with the bases empty behind Mark Clark. Welcome back. Welcome back to all of you watching the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers. Here's McGwire. He has hit 45, and he takes a ball low from Clark. He has gone 28 bats without going deep, which is cause for alarm in St. Louis and across the world of baseball. Just a little inside, 2-0.
0 for his last 28, and he has not homered since July 28.
2 balls, no strikes on McGwire, and that's one. The inside corner, 2-1. This place becomes eerily quiet with a standing room only crowd when McGwire is at the plate. 3-1. And the crowd starts to boo. I think Jeff Blauser just booed Mark Clark. Come on, pitch to him. 3-1. Into right center field. Is it enough? Glenn Allen Hill is staggering and finally makes the catch. Better you than me, pal. Not textbook, but it fell into his glove. Glenn Allen, a sigh of relief. No score after 1.
Premiering Sunday, August 23rd.
2 managers with different agendas for the rest of the season. Tony La Russa on his right, evaluating a lot of young players to find out what he has for next year, along with getting a front row seat for the Mark McGwire home run watch. The man on your left just had his contract picked up for another season, which is not the grandest vote of confidence, but they picked up the option for 1999, and his Cubs right now are in the playoffs. But we've got a lot of baseball left. The Cubs are playing only their 117th game of the year today, and they have just a 1.5 game lead over the Mets in the wild card race. Glenn Allen Hill took a ball. Now that's a strike. 1-1. Before we let any more of this game get away, I want to mention that the Cardinals, in order to put Donovan Osborne on the active roster today, released, designated for assignment, but released Gary Gaetti, who was a true professional in his years here in St. Louis. And I would have to think the Cubs would look long and hard at bringing the Illinois native Gary Gaetti to Chicago.
I would think so. With that ballpark, wind blowing out there often, a lot that Jim Riggleman could do with the likes of Gaetti. He could put Hernandez at shortstop against tough right-handers. Of course, Jeff Blauser is the regular shortstop, but Hernandez, such a valuable player for these Cubs. Plays 6 different positions.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Glenn Allen Hill. First up in the second. Now 3-2. I'll tell you one other point about Gaetti, and you know it. He is still as good as any third baseman defensively going. The ball is in his range. That's an important part of it. He's going to make the out. A leadoff walk to Glenn Allen Hill, and that's a good start to the second inning for Chicago. That'll bring in Jose Hernandez, and we look at his outfield hits by direction.
Most of the time when a guy has hits that are spread out, the players refer to that as using line to line. Then he's having a good year. A terrific offensive season, and as we said, he is so valuable to the Cubs because he can play so many defensive positions and play almost all of them well.
He has played every defensive position this season for the Cubs, with the exception of catcher or pitcher. He's played every infield spot and every spot in the outfield. Strike 1.
Joe, so far this game just like last night.
Yeah, right. After an inning last night, a total of 14 runs had been scored.
14 runs and 2 errors apiece. There were 4 errors after 1 inning last night. And the Cards and the Cubs combining to score 14 first-inning runs.
Bottenfield struggled in the first inning last night, settled down, pitched another good game for the Cardinals, and Traxel couldn't make it through 1 inning. In fact, only picked up a third of an inning. Only 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jose Hernandez. And Henry Rodriguez to follow. We will certainly keep track of the pitch count for Donovan Osborne this afternoon as he's working on about, as I said, a 90-pitch limit. 2 balls and a strike.
See if Jim Riggleman puts Glenn Allen Hill in motion. The one thing you cannot do in this situation is get picked off if you are running. But an ideal hit and run spot, and a guy who hits the ball the other way, as we've shown.
Not going, and a changeup. Would have been a good pitch on which to run, but Hernandez went after it, came up empty, 2-2.
A pitcher who has the type stuff as Osborne, who could throw the changeup over behind in the count or in a fastball situation, is going to make a lot of money.
Donovan's got that accomplished. I think Donovan and the Cardinals would trade a lot of that money in for a more consistent performance out of a guy who's had trouble staying on the field. But he has got a world of ability.
As we said earlier, more times on the disabled list than on the active roster throughout his career.
That's into right field. Well hit. Jordan back. Can't get it off the wall. Hill ends up at third. And a long single off the wall by Jose Hernandez. The ball just jumps off his bat.
Again, using all parts of the field, and the one thing that Hernandez had to do, he wasn't sure that Glenn Allen Hill was going to make it to third base. He had to hold up at first. This ball hit like a shot, not a lot of hang time. But if you're the base runner, the minute you see Jordan do that, you take off for third base. That gives the trail runner a chance, but look at Hill. His hesitancy did not allow Hernandez to get to second.
Not running real well. First to third, as now it is first and third for Henry Rodriguez with nobody out. That's strike one. Rodriguez, who has had a nice season production-wise with 27 home runs and 74 RBIs, has a chance with runners at the corners and nobody out. 1-1. Strikeouts can be a problem, though, for Rodriguez, usually in the top 10 year after year. He's already fanned 99 times this season.
Notice after that curveball base hit by Morandini, Eli Marrero, the catcher, going to the hard breaking ball and not the curveball. Generally speaking, that's your best breaking ball. Left-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter, the hard one.
Rodriguez reaching, and we'll see if this does the trick. Likely it won't. Jordan in, and Hill will just stay put despite a poor throw, and it's first and third, one out. You said it many times, doesn't matter what kind of throw the guy has. If he has that momentum coming in,
right,
the runner's not going to test him.
You've done your job. Ron Fairley of the Dodgers used to explain it very well. When an outfielder gets rid of the ball, you've done your job. Often it doesn't have to be a good throw if you release it properly. Jordan is so shallow. Rodriguez had to reach 6 inches outside to hit that ball, didn't he? Rear end out.
Very defensive swing.
Yeah.
Up on the count, 2-1. And now first and third, one out. And it's Scott Service with a chance, who has driven in only 24 this season and has averaged just over 200. And a double play candidate. That's into right. And Jordan will come on. They might test him here. The other runner, Hernandez, thought there were 2 outs. The throw to the plate is cut off by Osborne. They get the double play at first base. The first base umpire signals out, but the run should count.
Absolutely.
The run should count, and Gary Crawford has not made any indication at home plate. It is 1-0 Chicago after an inning and a half. We'll bring in Tatis, who took over at third for Gary Gaetti. And one more note about Gaetti. His career at Wrigley, 14 games. He hit .389 with 6 home runs in the 14 games and 14 RBIs. They would do well to check into Mr. Gaetti's services for the rest of the year. 2 out, nobody on for Tatis. And a strike from Clark. Hernando hitting just .217 and playing in his 7th game with St. Louis. Started the year in Texas. 1 ball, 1 strike. One of the top prospects in the Ranger organization. In fact, jumped over AAA. They thought so much of him. Strip foul. Strike 2. You can hear with the microphone that kid just riding the security. Give it, give it.
Probably thinking, well, I wanted a Mark McGwire home run or a Sammy Sosa home run, but I'll take this.
But we got good seats, and I can't get one here. Here's the 1-2 pitch.
2-0 fastball. He pulls down the line, and then a flat-footed swing on the 2-1 pitch.
And another flat-footed swing to stay alive. It's still 1-2.
Totally fooled on that breaking ball from Mark Clark, but he stays alive.
Clark trying to go perfect through 2. He'll have a chance. Hernandez at third. Gets his man, and Mark Clark off to a flying start here in St. Louis. We go to the 3rd. Might see Sosa. Clark will lead it off 1-0 Chicago. Cubs got a run in the 2nd, and Donovan Osborne back to work. He'll take on Mark Clark, Jeff Blauser, and Mickey Morandini. Clark is not one of the better hitting pitchers you'll run across, and he'll be the first to tell you. Only 1 out of 41. And a ball from Osborne.
1 for his last 64 back in the middle of the 1997 season.
1 ball, 1 strike.
That's why that base running mistake by Jose Hernandez was bigger than you might assume, because had he not made that mistake, the Cubs may not get another run, but you don't have the pitcher leading off in the 3rd inning. Good hitting, poor base running by Hernandez in the 2nd.
I think Jose knows we're talking about.
I think so.
I mean, when you make a mistake like that, you got to know.
Yeah.
On a game of the week. Clark is gone, and that's strikeout number 2 for Osborne. Tonight at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on FX. Most of you will see the Red Sox and the Rangers. A good matchup there, while some of you will see the Phillies taking on the Astros at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area on FX. 1 out, nobody on, and here's Blauser. Jeff struck out his first time, looking on a pitch over the inside corner. One ball, 1 strike. One out, nobody on behind Donovan Osborne. And a little chop to short for Ordaz. 2 away. That'll bring in Mickey Morandini, and here are the thoughts of his hitting coach, Jeff Pentland, on what Morandini means to this team.
His approach to hitting is second to none as far as when to take pitches, when to swing, how to lay off pitches. He's fantastic. He hasn't, you know, I think everyone's kind of waiting for him to kind of crumble, but, you know, I just don't think it's going to happen. And certainly he's a big part of Sammy's success.
Ball 1 to Morandini, low from Donovan Osborne.
We were talking about it earlier. Mickey Morandini may go into a slump, but he's not going to crumble. I guarantee you that. A lot of respect in less than a year as a Cubs second baseman. And of course, Ryan Sandberg retiring last year. That seems like it happened 5 years ago.
Well, it happened 5 times, didn't it?
I guess the first time was 5 years ago.
Shut her down for a couple of years and came back and shut it down again. You look at what the Cubs did over the offseason. Morandini, a big acquisition through trade, and they got that deal done with Philadelphia, sending a good one in Doug Glanville to the Phillies. It's into left center, slicing to Gant. And the Cubs go in order for the first time this afternoon in the third. Bottom of the inning rolls around. Bottom of the order for St. Louis. Marrero. Here is Marrero. Takes the ball. Eli's hit 2 home runs this season, driven in 10. And that's a little flare into left. Late break by Rodriguez. Blauser out, and nobody can get it. Marrero is going to end up at second. You could see that coming a mile away, and this is not a very good defensive outfield put out there today by Jim Riggleman.
The great pitcher of the Atlanta Braves, Greg Maddux, says that if a ball has 7 seconds or more of hang time, it's got to be caught. Blauser can't range any farther out there than he has. Not only a poor jump, but poor positioning by Henry Rodriguez. If you have to come that far for a routine fly ball, you started off too deep.
Now, you're right about the jump.
Yeah.
He went a little back after the full swing by Marrero, then tried to recover and no chance. So the tying run is at second with nobody out for the pitcher, Donovan Osborne, who can handle the bat. Little bunt back to Clark. Marrero doesn't go, and Osborne is out. 1-4.
I know
it's a sacrifice.
Well, I know it sounds strange, but a lot of times a guy on second base, if the ball's bunted back to the pitcher, you have a problem with depth perception. You don't know how far it is from home plate. And now by the time he determines that he could have made it to third had he broke immediately, then Mark Clark, who had looked at third, goes to first. I can understand that play right there, because you're looking in, you really don't know how far the bunt is away from home plate. Had he broken right away, he makes it, but it's a tough play for Eli Marrero at second base.
So now runner at second with 1 out, Mark Clark. And the Cubs catch a break, and LaRussa's hot down in the Cardinal dugout that Marrero didn't advance. Here's Ordaz, and that's the third for Hernandez. But out. Good play by Grace on the other end. 2 gone.
Nice play by Jose Hernandez. We talked about how adept he is at 6 infield positions, a backhand, looking at Marrero back at third, and then the high throw to Grace. But Mark just off the bag momentarily. That's the one thing, particularly the left side of the infield for Chicago Cubs. They can afford to make a few bad throws because Grace has such soft hands.
Runner at second, 2 out for Pat Kelly, who takes the ball low. Kelly, a .264 hitter with a home run and 8 driven in. Wouldn't chase it. 2-0. Clark on 2-1. Kelly grounds it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Look at the pressure that guy's under. And he's got a bare-hand balls that are rocketed toward him down the line, and then he has the pressure of these little kids screaming for the foul ball.
He should have a glove.
He should have a glove.
Yes.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and it'll stay there. That's about the spot Rene Latchman finds when McGwire's at the plate.
That deep, huh? I don't blame him.
It's back there somewhere.
That's the third base coaching box right there with McGwire up.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Kelly, that's a broken bat, a fair ball. Hernandez high and safe. And Marrero was about to wander off third. It's first and third, 2 out as Kelly got his foot on the bag as Grace popped up into the air.
It looked to me like Tom Hallian wanted to call Kelly out. A fine play by Hernandez, but again a high throw. Watch Hallian. He goes to call him out, and now he calls him safe. One more time. Did Grace come down in time to get Kelly? Nope. Good call.
It's ruled a hit. And it's first and third, 2 out for Jordan. He flied to right his first time up. A ball high to Jordan. Brian has driven in 66. He has hit 17 out of the park, and his average in the top 10 really all season. Either batting in front of or behind McGwire. That's a pop-up third base side, and Hernandez is out of room.
Boy, did Mark Clark get away with a hanger then. Most good right-handed hitters get off the bench, get up on a stool. All of them want to hit at this pitch. Watch this hanger right here. Right up in the zone right there. And Jordan missed it. Wow.
First and third, 2 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Clark misses away. Brian Jordan trying to excite most of, not all of this big crowd here in St. Louis. First and third, 2 out. And now a 2-2 count. So a Texas lead double. Texas league double by Marrero that was a leadoff double. And the infield hit by Kelly. And now it's up to Jordan, who this year has returned to form after just .234 a year ago. Injuries set in, a wrist, a bad back. He's healthy now. And he hits one to dead center. Sosa came in, goes back, and makes the catch on the run to end the inning. Sammy Sosa, only his 5th start in center field, able to recover and make a fine running catch, and we'll see him bat second in the 4th. Great catch by Sosa. Still 1-0 Chicago.
Time this year. Joe, you mentioned it at the beginning. I'll tell you, you see Sosa on deck. I think this is the best rivalry in baseball. Better than the Yankees and the Red Sox. Better than the Dodgers and the Giants.
I think as compared to the Yankees, Red Sox, it's a little more friendly.
Yeah. That's the closest, I think. I think the Cardinals, Cubs, and then the Red Sox, Yankees. But the Red Sox, Yankees rivalry takes on some nastiness.
St. Louis on your right, Cubs on your left. They came in the same car. Grace into left center field. Langford on the move. Back to get it, 1 away. One out, nobody on for Sosa, who flied to right his first time up. Welcome to those of you watching Seattle and Detroit. We understand the junior's 0 for 2. Sosa's 0 for 1. McGwire's 0 for 1. And this is Sammy's second at bat of the afternoon. He is at 43 home runs. He flied to right his first time up. Cubs lead 1-0 here in the 4th inning. It's been a well-pitched game to this point. Ball 1 to Sosa. Start comparing the numbers with McGwire and Sosa. McGwire's hit 45 home runs. Sosa's hit 43. But Sosa's had 446 at bats, while McGwire only 355. The main reason walks. McGwire's drawn 115. Sosa just 49.
Same with Ken Griffey Jr., who, by the way, is 0 for 2 this afternoon in that game up in Detroit, Seattle at Detroit. Sosa hitting here.
swinging on 3-0, and it's 3-1. Might have chased one from Osborne there. 3 balls and a strike. One out, nobody on, and Sosa draws a 1-out walk. So that's the second walk handed out by Osborne this afternoon. 1 on, 1 out for Chicago, and Glenn Allen Hill walks in.
What a great shot that is. That'll be in the national news tomorrow. Coast to coast, right there.
Well, and I think one of the reasons why these two get along so well, Sosa has such an admiration and respect for McGwire with everything he says. Timeout called at the plate as Glenn Allen Hill waits. Sosa still defers to McGwire. There you go. Think anybody's making any money this weekend, or
No, not a penny. Nope. Either in the park or outside. Forget it.
Glenn Allen Hill, a .275 hitter, pops one foul. I mean, you look at this quote. To me, he's the man who's going to break the record of trying to go the other way, trying to win the division and go to the playoffs. He's also been quoted as saying, McGwire's the man. He is the man. I'm just trying to do my part. And I believe it when Sammy says that. I hear a lot of quotes that you can see right through. And I believe that Sosa looks at McGwire as the guy who's got the best shot at doing it. 0-1 on Glenn Allen Hill. 1 on, 1 out. And a changeup, strike 2.
Why then do you commit heresy and say that Sammy Sosa is going to be the MVP? I'm saying you generally speaking there because I said it.
That's right.
The reason is I think Sosa's, the numbers are comparable. But think about the fact Sosa's a much better base runner. He's a base stealing threat and a base running threat. And he plays a more important position, either right field or center field, particularly in Wrigley Field. And he has a terrific arm, 11 assists on the year.
Here's the 0-2 to Hill. Just got a piece.
But as you said in the opener, there are a lot of people who, and Mark McGwire breaks the record, that he's an automatic most valuable player. But it could be an unbelievable year in that McGwire could break the record and Sosa could be the MVP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a realistic position at the end of the season.
Well, I think you talk along those lines with regard to McGwire breaking the record. And Roger Maris, here comes the 0-2 pitch. Hill strikes out on a pitch in under his hands. Strikeout number 3 for Osborne. And you start to think about Maris, and more you hear a public outcry for Roger Maris and from people in the game for Roger Maris to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. I mean, that's my feeling. We've said it publicly. Roger Maris, the MVP, the year before he hit the 61 home run. Played in more postseason games than any other player in the 60s. 2 World Series with the Cardinals, 5 with the Yankees.
Here's Jose Hernandez with Sosa at first and 2 out. One other aspect of Sosa's game, he runs well. He's stolen 13 bases. Been caught 8 times this season.
You know, Joe, in a game of numbers, one of the more astonishing numbers through the years of baseball history, the number of intentional walks that Roger Maris had in 1961, a year that he broke Babe Ruth's record. Not one. Not one. Because Mickey Mantle was hitting behind him and had 54 home runs that year.
On the other hand, McGwire's drawn 24 intentional walks this season. Sosa 9. One on, 2 out, and Hernandez takes another ball. Well, I guess in 1998 Cardinal terms, there's your mantle. Right now, Ray Lankford hits behind McGwire. Earlier in the year, it was Brian Jordan. Nobody on this Cardinal team right now is any hotter than Ray Lankford, by the way. 2-0 on Hernandez.
And that hurt McGwire's chances because they were pitching around Mark, still are, but not to the degree that they were, because Langford has been red hot since the All-Star break. 9 home runs since the break.
2 balls, no strikes on Hernandez. 1 on, 2 out. Hernandez up to get it into left center field. Track roll, 3-0 Chicago. Tim, nobody gets on top of high deliveries any better than Jose Hernandez.
Particularly with the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Fastball situation to a high fastball hitter. He got what he was looking for, and again, that's one of the problems when you fall behind in the count. Things like this happen.
So a 3-run Chicago lead in the 4th inning as Henry Rodriguez takes the ball. Rodriguez pops it up. Shallow center for Langford. And he's there to end the inning. But those here to root for the Cubs, having fun so far. 2-run shot by Hernandez makes it 3-0 Chicago. Welcome back to St. Louis. And that welcome includes those of you watching Seattle and Detroit. Mark McGwire, first pitch, 4th inning, ball 1. Bottom half of the inning, the Cubs on a 2-run shot by Jose Hernandez have increased their lead to 3-0. McGwire on 1-0. Takes a strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Big Mac fly to right, his first time up. 2-1.
And during his first at bat, he just missed, and I mean just missed, his 3rd opposite field home run of the year.
Into left field, there goes number 46. McGwire's magic number is now 16. As Ray Langford takes the ball. Nobody on or out, and Big Mac just took a bite out of a Mark Clark delivery and rode it over the wall into the seats and left. 1 ball, 1 strike on Langford.
Remember when we went over the scouting report of Mark Clark, we talked about how Clark throws a light sinker. Well, that was what McGwire hit. And believe me, he didn't get all of that. He hit it just above the trademark.
Two and one.
On a 2-1 pitch right here, you can see that ball inside, and Sosa saying, I can't believe that guy did it again.
And now he is up by 3 over Sammy Sosa. Tim, did you notice the look of relief on McGwire's face when he crossed the plate, and then when he looked up at the crowd and the rest of his teammates in the dugout?
I didn't. No, I did not notice it.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Langford.
But I can certainly understand it.
For obvious reasons, there's so much pressure on him to go deep game after game after game. Here's the 3-2 to Langford. And that's a strikeout for Clark, number 2. That when he doesn't, and he just went through his longest homerless drought of the season at 29 at-bats, Well, you could see an enormous weight just lifted off his shoulders, and now he might go into one of those stretches where he hits 4 or 5 in a week. One out, nobody on. Gant takes a ball.
He is obviously so strong, and he makes it look so easy. Sosa does not make it look nearly as easy as McGwire. Of course, maybe Ken Griffey Jr. may make it look easier than any of them.
Sammy can say, I was on hand and I saw Mark McGwire's 46th of 1998. Gant 2-1. Good pitch from Clark behind in the count. Gant pops it up. On the right side of the infield for Grace. 2 out. Well, we talked about all the walks, the intentional walks, the unintentional. Here are McGwire's thoughts on getting pitches to hit.
You know, it's all about seeing pitches to drive. You know, I mean, there's so much made of this home run stuff over the last course of the years, but nobody goes back and looks to the videotapes and say, hey, Ken Griffey or Frank Thomas, Mark McGwire, Albert, haven't seen balls to drive. You know, I mean, home runs, the pitchers are not going to set it on a tee for us to hit the ball.
Tatis pops it foul, backing out of play, strike 1.
Just like a guy in a used car lot looking for any car, just something to drive. That's all he wants, just something to drive.
And for the most part, he's getting maybe 2-3 pitches a game to drive. You track his at-bats over the course of a season, and there are very few pitches. And lately, I think he's been a little frustrated. He started to chase some pitches. Like he said, nobody's going to set it on a tee and get on the list. Well, Mark Clark's now on the list, giving up his 46th of the year. 0-2 on Tatis. 1-2. Fernando bounced down to third his first time up, and a good pickup by Jose Hernandez. Inside corner struck him out. That's 2 in the inning, 3 in the game for Clark, and we've played 4. Mark McGwire, number 46. The relief, the smile, the weight lifted off his shoulders. 3-1 Cubs after 4.
3 things I always do before I barbecue ribs. Whip up my secret hot sauce, get the coals just right, and I always take a Pepsi AC.
Whatever's cooking.
65 pitches now delivered by Donovan Osborne on a day in which he will max out between 80 or 90, somewhere in there. Service went, according to Jerry Crawford. He doesn't think so, and Scott becomes the 4th strikeout victim for Donovan Osborne. 1 away.
If you're in the third base dugout, it's tough to argue a swing like this because you can't tell either. Left-handed batter you can, but with the right-handed batting service, I think he went too far.
So 1 out, and the batter is Mark Clark. Takes a strike from Osborne. Clark struck out his first time, and he's now 1 out of 42. Who did he get the 1 against? I don't know. That's what I want to know. We'll find out.
1 for his last 65 last year and a half.
That's getting on a different kind of list. I mean, Mark Clark is now on the McGwire list. Who's on the Mark Clark list?
Bob Buell was 0 for 63 back in 1961. I think that's a record for pitchers' futility during one season.
Clark is hitting 0-24. The 0-2 pitch. It's a foul ball. So Clark is not one of those pitchers who will help himself with a base hit very often.
By the way, you spell that O and O for it. Spell that O-H. O-W-E.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and Clark pops it into center. Easy for Langford. 2 up, 2 down for the Cubs here in the 5th inning. Well, let's tell you, The next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the New York Yankees hosting the Texas Rangers. The Baltimore Orioles traveling to Cleveland to face the Indians. The Chicago White Sox hosting the Seattle Mariners. Really a good weekend of games. It all begins at 12:30 Eastern with In the Zone right here on Fox. Home of the 1998 World Series, the 1998 NLCS. Here's Blauser with 2 out, nobody on. Blauser struck out. He's grounded out. And he takes a strike. Another strike, 0-2. Well, high from Osborne, who's nearing the end of his day. Along with approaching his pitch limit, he's due up second in the bottom of this 5th inning. This might be it for Osborne. 2-2. Count from Osborne with Morandini next. Two out, nobody on. The 3-2 is squirted to first. McGwire. Inning over. Cubs go in order for just the second time today. Halfway through it, bottom of the 5th, bottom of the order for St. Louis. 3-1 Chicago.
And by Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
There's the St. Louis Arch, the banks of the mighty Mississippi, and Donovan Osborne is, it appears, finished for the afternoon. He has gone through 5, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, and Mark Clark and the Cubs lead by 2. Eli Marrero first up. And a strike from Clark. Marrero blooped a double into left field his first time up. And his average at 254. And on the hands, strike 2. Rascatore getting ready with Tom Lampkin on deck to hit for Osborne. Here it is on 0-2. Not a bad first time back at all for Donovan Osborne after being out for 3 months. There are the numbers. And a pitch total of 77. That's well hit down the line and left, but hooking foul.
Remember when we were talking earlier when Brian Jordan fouled back that hanger from Mark Clark? Similar pitch right here to Eli Marrero. What happens is the pitcher gets under a pitch like that. It stays up in the zone. There's no downward bite. Fortunately, foul for Clark and the Cubs.
And again, the 1-2. The opposite way. So Eli Marrero showing something. Pulling one foul down the left field line, then going the other way. A leadoff hit. Right now for a Coors Light game break. Back to Chip in the Fox Television Center.
All right, Joe and Tim, thanks a lot. I want to be a left-handed hitter in Tiger Stadium. Rob Ducey just hit his 3rd home run of the year. He's playing center field for Ken Griffey Jr. today, who's the DH. Jr. has struck out today. He's 0 for 2, and the Mariners and Tigers in a 2-2 tie. Back to you, St. Louis.
All right, Chip.
I can understand Chip Carey wanting to be a left-handed hitter in Detroit because of the overhang. One of the great left-handed hitting ballparks in the history of the game.
1 on, nobody out for the pinch hitter Lampkin. Hit and run is on, and Lampkin pops it up. Marrero back to first as Sosa puts it away. 1 on, 1 out with the number 9 hitter Ordaz coming up. Tonight, it's the fastest criminal alive and the slowest on cops. Then this man ripped off innocent victims for $60 million. Now it's time to make him pay. Watch America's Most Wanted. America Fights Back. It all starts tonight. 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
You know, Tony La Russa gave Tom Lampkin the hit-and-run sign. I don't think that's a good play. You've got a pinch hitter coming up, and on the first pitch here in the 5th inning, he has not seen any pitches from Mark Clark, and you're trailing by 2 and you're hitting and running. I don't think that's a good play.
Here's Ordaz, 1 on, 1 out. Ordaz 0 for 1, and for the season in the big leagues, just 9 out of 58. He can play the heck out of shortstop. The question about Ordaz is, can he hit at this level? A lot of people think with that stance, the answer is no. And they've called a balk. Bob Davidson's here, and he has made his presence felt. Ladies and gentlemen, second base umpire known as Balkin Bob Davidson. And there he is.
One of the great advantages that Bob Davidson would have when, of course, we like taxes and death, we're all going to pass away, but the one great asset that Davidson has, God might say, whoop, that was a balk. Got another chance.
Here it is.
Balk. You can hear him. That's a balk.
And they don't even raise an eyebrow when it's Bob Davidson.
Balk and Bob.
Ordaz, the base hit to center. They will bring Marrero to the plate, and a poor throw from Sosa. Not only is Marrero safe, but Ordaz gets down to second, and he's the tying run. Not well played by Sosa in center.
Not at all. You hear that so often, one of the key fundamentals of the game, and there's Bob Davidson, who called the balk. And that put Marrero on at second, a hanging breaking ball. Sammy Sosa, once you do not field the ball cleanly, you might as well not throw home, because when you do, if you miss the cutoff man, the fellow who hits the ball is going to second. And that's what happened right here.
Marrero can pick him up and lay him down. He can run, and with a high throw, Ordaz is now at second with only 1 out for the top of the order, Pat Kelly. Humor me once and say he runs well for a catcher. Kelly is 1 for 2, an infield hit his last time up.
That in baseball jargon is like have a nice day, or how's the family? Fine, and yours?
Wife and kids, they good.
Yeah, right.
Ball 2 to Kelly, 2-0.
Hey, nice to see you. Let's get together sometime. How about now? Nope, gotta go.
Jordan on deck. Yeah, that's us. We're talking. Not about much. 2-0 the count on Kelly. Runner at second, 1 out. 2-1. Of course, I'm barking up the wrong tree here, because I'm talking to a former catcher who at one point in his career hit leadoff.
You also are talking to a former catcher who hates that saying, and you knew it.
Absolutely. Why else would I say it?
You're baiting me in a sense. Not in a sense. Literally. Exactly.
Tying run at second, 1 out, 2 balls and a strike on Kelly. Two and 2.
Now that hit by Ordaz, who's at second base right now, representing the tying run. When have the Cardinals not had a good shortstop? Since Marty Marion. I mean, the list of Cardinal shortstops have been plentiful, of course, most recently, and the best, Ozzie Smith. Before him, Gary Templeton, Dick Grote back in the 60s, followed by Dal Maxfield. Great shortstops, a tradition here in St. Louis.
Here's the 2-2 to Kelly. There it is.
That's the thing that I think makes St. Louis fans almost crying out for a guy like Mark McGwire, because the Cardinals have never been known since their history. They've never been known for a team that hit home runs. They've only led the National League in homers 5 times. You think of the Cardinals, you think of speed, defense, pitching. Not necessarily in that order, but rarely do you think of power, but you do now.
2-2 on Kelly. Full count, 3-2. Pat McGwire's already set the Cardinal franchise record for home runs in a single season, which had been held by Johnny Mize with 43. McGwire's now hit 46. The Cardinals are playing in just their 115th game of the season. 3-2 on Kelly with Jordan to follow. Then McGwire. Very good at bat by Pat Kelly here, hooking up with Mark Clark. Stan Musial's career high, by the way, 39, in case you're wondering. That's up in the Mac attack pack, and Big Mac lane. Here's the 3-2 to Kelly. 2 out. It's going to be up to Jordan here in the 5th inning. So while Jordan walks in, we will take our crowd, at least audio-wise and partial screen-wise, to the Tigers and the Mariners. Let's listen in.
We'd like to welcome those of you who've been watching Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. Now you'll watch Ken Griffey Jr. here in Detroit. Ryan Powell deals strike one. It's a 2-2 tie. Alex Rodriguez, the runner at second base. First base is open.
And they've been staying away from Griff all day long.
This ball loops, falling into center. Base hit for Griffey. Rodriguez will come in to score. Seattle takes the lead here. Griffey holds home.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, George. So Griffey doesn't hit the home run, but Mariners happy. He puts them out in front in Detroit while Jordan tries to tie this game with a hit. Runner at second, 2 out, 3-2 Chicago in the 5th. Griffey now 1 for 3 on the day. McGwire is 1 for 2 with a home run, his 46th of the year, and Sosa is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Nothing in 2 as Mark Clark tries to keep the Cubs out in front here in the 5th inning. Pointed out something that was in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch today before the game, Tim, that we'll try to get through. It might take a moment, so see if Jordan gives us a chance. It has to do with McGwire and the home run chase. Here it is on 0-2, and Jordan pops it foul.
Back in 1927, when Babe Ruth hit his 60 home runs, on this day, and of course they were playing a 154-game schedule that year, not 162, but on that day, that's 71 years ago, Babe Ruth had 35 home runs.
And there's more to the story.
Matter of fact, teammate Lou Gehrig had 2 more than Ruth.
Here's the 0-2 to Jordan. Inning over, and a big strikeout for Clark as Jordan leaves the tying run in scoring position. Sammy Sosa bats 3rd in the 6th inning, going there. Chicago now leads it 3-2. Jim Riggleman kind enough to wear a microphone. Here are his thoughts when the Cardinals lifted Donovan Osborne last half inning for the pinch hitter Lampkin.
Have Johnson ready and Brown both. They're going to bring that right hander. Looks like Lampkin's going to hit here, so he may hit one of those guys for Glenn Allen.
That's a look ahead at Glenn Allen Hill, who is due up 4th in this inning. And the Cardinals do go to the right-hander, John Frascatore,
who leads the Cardinals in appearances. This is the 52nd game this year that John has towed the rubber.
ERA over 4 as Morandini leads it off. Part of the Cub lineup, Morandini, Grace, and Sosa. Strike 1.
I guess if the Cubs do get to that 4th hitter, then Brant Brown will be the pinch hitter for Glenn Allen Hill.
One ball, one strike. Grace next, and then Sammy.
would look at that particular move, even if the Cubs go 3 up, 3 down here in the 6th inning, put Brown in the game anyway for Glen Allen Hill. You bolster your defense, put Brown in center, move Sosa back to right, and let Brown lead off the 7th inning.
Cardinals have only one left-hander in their bullpen, by the way, and Lance Painter. 2 balls and a strike, and Morandini takes ball 3 high. 3-1. Morandini would love to get on base and set it up for Grace, Sosa, and either Hill or a pinch hitter. Low, ball 4, and Frascatore comes out and walks the leadoff man. Right now, for a Coors Light game break, back to Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
All right, Joe and Tim, thanks a lot. One of the guys that's one of the best hitters in the American League has uncorked a long bomb to left. Edgar Martinez playing first base today. Just off the facade of the roof in left at Tiger Stadium, a 2-run blast. You see what Ken Griffey's done. 1 for 3 with an RBI. Number 98 on the year.
Thank you, Chip. Here's Grace with 1 on, nobody out. Mark is 0 for 2 this afternoon. He takes a ball. Still hard to believe that with all those weapons, Seattle's 10 games under 500. I know their bullpen hasn't been very good. They're 11 out behind Texas in the AL West. 2-0, and Frascatore can't find the strike zone. A leadoff walk. Now the 2-0 pitch. Grace takes high, and it's 3-0. This crowd growing restless with John Frascatore in the 6th inning. Three balls, no strikes. Not even close. Back-to-back walks to start the inning. And the Cubs have 2 on with nobody out, and Sosa coming up. So Dave Duncan walks out to talk to John Frascatore. So Duncan just out there to talk.
Yeah, and that's one of the toughest positions for a pitching coach to be in, and the catcher, because the pitcher, an experienced pitcher like Frascatore, knows that one of the reasons that Duncan and Marrero are out there is to give the bullpen a chance to warm up. So while you may be talking some common sense, the confidence is going south. So is the strike zone so far for John Frascatore.
And that sets up 2 on with nobody out for Sammy Sosa, who's 0 for 1 with a walk. Welcome back to St. Louis. For those of you watching Seattle and Detroit, Sosa takes the ball. You've joined us here in the 6th inning. After the Cardinals scored a run in the 5th to make it 3-2, John Frascatore has come out of the bullpen, walked Morandini, walked Grace, 2 on, nobody out, and a 1-0 count on Sosa. There's a strike. Here's 1-1.
On the corner, that first pitch looked better than the second one.
2 on, nobody out for Chicago, trying to add to their lead. And a little jam shot into center. Kelly out to get it. And he and Langford collide momentarily. So Sosa pops out into shallow center. Kelly and Langford a little brush out in center. And Kelly put it away.
This is not an infield fly rule. The umpire closest to it, Bob Davidson, did not put that right hand up. And the reason for that, it's got to be a sure chance for an infielder. It was not a sure chance, and a good play by Pat Kelly.
So much for strategy as they stick with Glen Allen Hill with 2 on, 1 out. You would think that if they were thinking along those lines at all, this would be a perfect spot for Brent Brown.
Right.
Ball one from Frascatore.
And with the Cubs up by a run, you would think that you would want more defense in there.
So Pitkaisik a right-hander, Brantley a right-hander. There isn't a lefty in the bullpen yet. No Brent Brown. It's Glenn Allen Hill. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. 1-1. Dash. He can pick it. 6-4-3 inning over, and the Cubs missed a golden chance in the 6th inning to add to their lead. McGwire leads it off. Bottom of the inning is still 3-2 Cubs.
Okay.
Standing room only here on a Saturday afternoon, and we're glad to have you with us on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. Jose Hernandez went up to get it, and Donovan Osborne gave up that 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Still the biggest swing of the day, although everybody will talk about McGwire and the home run number 46. That home run off the bat of Hernandez made it 3-0. The Cubs now lead 3-2. Hernandez, Rodriguez service coming up. We'll take you now to Detroit. Josh Lewin, George Brett, Seattle at the Tigers.
We welcome those of you who are watching the McGwire/Sammy Sosa show. Here is Ken Griffey Jr. in Detroit. 5-2 Mariners. Alex Rodriguez is at first base, and a guy that is stolen quite often, despite Griffey hitting behind him. Doug Bacco tries to keep him close, and when you're dealing with Ken Griffey Jr., George, how possible can you avoid this guy beating him?
It's tough, too, especially with Jay Buhner behind him, Edgar Martinez behind him. It's tough.
Rodriguez is going. Bacco with the throw down, not in time. So for the 3rd time this afternoon, Griffey will be at the plate with first base open. And you wonder how that'll change things now as Butler and Bacco get together. That's the battery for the Detroit Tigers.
Well, they've pitched him away, and every time this situation's come up, just pounded him away, chain speeds away. Kenny Griffey was a little more disciplined at the plate today, and maybe not playing in Tiger Stadium. Probably would have had a couple walks.
To left field. And Trey Beeman will track it down for the first out of the inning.
Josh, George, thank you. So Griffey does have a hit, does have an RBI, but no home runs. Henry Rodriguez is at 27 home runs, and after Jose Hernandez grounded what have the Cubs done up and down their lineup so far this afternoon against the combination of Osborne and Frascatore? Morandini has a hit. Jose Hernandez doing what he usually does, contributing to the Cubs' effort. He has a 2-run home run, and Scott Service, who is driven in just 24 runs this season, got his 25th. Back in the 2nd inning to drive home the first run of the day. Here's Service now with 2 out, nobody on, and a ball from Frascatore.
Even a guy like Sammy Sosa, he has had Henry Rodriguez bat behind him against right-handed pitching. Rodriguez having a super year with 27 home runs. It's more understandable with Sosa and Griffey. But McGwire, I mean, 1 or 2 times a game, as you said earlier, he gets his pitch and usually capitalizes.
2 out, nobody on. The 1-1 to Service is inside. This will be the last inning of work for Frascatore. He is due to lead off in the bottom of the 7th inning. A little high, and it's 3-1. On deck is Mark Clark. To the left side, Tatis. Nice play to his left. Plenty of time. Good throw. And over. 3 ground ball outs. It's time to stretch. Standing room only crowd here at Busch Stadium. What have we seen today? This good play by Tatis. McGwire's 46. And a home run from Hernandez. 3-2 Chicago. Johnson's now in center. Sosa moves from center to right, and Glenn Allen Hill is finished for the day. As John Mabry leads off for St. Louis. Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-2 Chicago. And he rips one to deep right center. It's got a chance at the wall. Sosa can't get there. One hop up against, and Mabry has a leadoff pinch hit double.
John Mabry finds a seam in right center field. Fastball from Mark Clark. First pitch hitting is Mabry. Sosa comes from within about 2 feet of getting that ball. So Mabry with a leadoff double here in the 7th inning.
So with that double to start the inning, Jim Riggleman is out there talking to Clark and his infield. Action just started for the Cubs in their bullpen, so no pitching change here.
Jim Riggleman talking to his middle infielders as much as his pitcher. When you're a right-handed pitcher in a bunting situation, and this is certainly that, when you throw the ball, you break immediately towards the third base line. You don't break in and over because you've got help behind you with Mark Grace.
Here's what Riggleman had to say.
Mick, I don't want you to hold him on there. I don't want to show that what we're doing. But, Jose, I want you to be charging. Blouse, you be getting over towards third. Mark, you come hard. We'll see if we get a chance over. If we don't have it, we'll take the out, okay? So get him. Come on. You don't have to be there at the
play
bat.
is on.
And here it is. Runner at second. The tying run. Nobody out for Ordaz. There's the bunt. There's the rotation play, and ball 1. One ball, no strikes on Ordaz, who's driven in a run with a hit. But most likely up there to bunt the tying run over to third. And the bunt to the third baseman. Perfect bunt. Hernandez will play to first. And the sacrifice is good. 5-4. Tying run at third now. Mabry with only 1 out.
The reason it's a perfect bunt is it's not bunted too hard. Normally with a runner on second base, you want to bunt it hard because you want the third baseman to feel the ball, but not when he's charging. Fine play by Ordaz. No chance to go to third base for Hernandez, so he takes the sure out.
Well, just as Jim Riggleman said, they had that rotation play on. They looked, but they got the sure out. And now Pat Kelly has Mabry at third with 1 out in a 1-run game. Cardinals have been using the squeeze a lot lately, including last night. Little flare, that ball might drop. A ton of trouble into left, and Kelly's tied this game at 3. And as Blauser kicks it in left field, the go-ahead run, Kelly goes to second. That will be an error.
Single RBI for Kelly and an error on Jeff Blauser. But had the infield been back, Jeff Blauser makes this play. But the infield is in. Blauser has a farther way to run for it and can't get to it. Not only a farther way to run, but a bad angle. Going halfway is Pat Kelly from first to second. And then when Blauser dropped the ball, he just goes to second. See the angle right there? Had Blauser been back playing in the position, he makes that play. No run scores, but the Cubs had to bring the infield in. 7th inning, 1-run ball game.
Mabry does his job, a leadoff pinch hit double, and he scores the tying run to make it 3-3. And now Jordan, with Kelly at second, takes a ball from Clark, who is about at the end of his afternoon.
Don't you think you'd walk Jordan in this situation to get to McGwire?
Absolutely.
Huh? I mean, doesn't that sound reasonable?
Right.
Of course.
Clark hoping that he can get Jordan.
Yeah.
Keep it as is, have first base open, and forget about McGwire again. That's into left field, a rocket. Rodriguez won't get it. Kelly scores. The Cardinals lead 4-3 on an RBI double by Jordan.
The Cardinal crowd here thanking Brian Jordan, and Brian Jordan thanking Mark McGwire. That's one of the big reasons, and not taking anything away from Brian, but that's one of the big reasons he gets a lot of pitches to hit, because of that guy up at the plate right now.
And McGwire will draw his 25th intentional walk of the season. His second walk of the day. And his 117th of 1998. The crowd boos, but the Cubs have absolutely no other choice. No. Cubs are trying to get into the postseason. This crowd wants to see a 2-homer day from McGwire, but they won't get the chance at least right now. And Jim Riggleman's going to make a pitching change with Langford coming up. Heredia is coming in. 2 on, 1 out. And the Cardinals, for the first time this afternoon, have a lead. Mark Clark exits. St. Louis up 4-3. Langford will face Heredia when we come back.
Hey, you heard about that guy, Sean?
He's so cool. No one's ever scored that many points.
He's going to any college he wants.
Man, it's unbelievable.
He is so...
And Langford takes the ball.
Felix Heredia specifically in this ball game now to get out one hitter, and that's Ray Langford.
Gans on deck. Right-hander Adams in the bullpen for Chicago. One ball, one strike. During the pitching change, here's what Tony La Russa said on the Cardinal dugout bench.
If they go to a right-hander after a Ray, like Adams, or whoever's out there, and he double switches, that's going to put somebody in that spot. But I wouldn't go to the right-hander. I just go ahead and stay with him. They got better left-hand pinch hitters on the bench.
The pitcher spot is the first spot up in the top of the 8th inning. That was the double switch to which Tony La Russa was referring. That could be employed after this batter by Jim Riggleman.
Because this is a one-batter effort, as you pointed out, for Heredia, trying to get the lefty Langford. And he is 2/3 of the way there. It's 1-2. Another point brought up in that soundbite has to do with the top of the 8th inning and Lance Painter out in the Cardinal bullpen. He'll be the pitcher. And even if they double switch, La Russa talks about the better pinch hitters for Chicago being left-handed batters, so he would stay with Painter, who's right now the only one warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. 2-2 on Langford.
And if Langford doesn't ground into a double play, Mabry stays in the game, and Gant, regardless of what Ronnie does, Mabry goes to left field for defense. Ronnie's out of the game, and you could put Painter, the pitcher, in the 5-hole. Lots happening here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. St. Louis up by a run here in the 7th inning. And Langford strikes out. Heredia does his job. Langford strikes out for the 4th time today. And Heredia is finished for the afternoon, and we will have a double switch.
Whenever you see a manager go right to the home plate umpire and wiggle those 2 fingers, if you folks are ever out at a ball game and you see that, impress the friend next to you and say, hey, he's making a double switch. That's what he's doing.
It doesn't even have to be a friend next to him.
No, that's right. Anybody.
Pardon me,
Stranger
ma'am.
might be better.
Ma'am, double switch is coming. Heredia is gone. Adams is coming in, and we will have that double switch here in the 7th inning. Cardinals have a lead, 2 on, 2 out with Gant coming up.
Babe Ruth is up. He looks sluggish.
Martin, all he's doing is sweating. I'm not sweating, and I'm wearing a turtleneck. You're fired.
What's wrong, babe?
I was out all night, Reg.
Try this.
Harry Adams.
And there are the numbers for Adams with an ERA of 3.6. Before the Cubs got Rod Beck, he thought he might be the closer for Chicago. Manny Alexander takes over at third. He'll bat ninth. There's Jordan stealing third on a base hit to right by Gantz. And the Cardinals add to their lead 5-3 in the seventh. An odd play with Jordan running, but Gantz stuck the bat out and went the other way to make it a two-run game.
Well, no question that Jordan steals third standing up. Ron Gant had a pitch that he liked. Huge jump at second base for Jordan. He walks home after the hit. RBI number 46 on the year for Gant.
Well, Gant's changed a lot of things at the plate, including his stance, standing more open. He's been going the other way with a lot more success lately, and he gets it done here. Now 2-on-2 out for Tatis, who takes a strike from Adams. Interesting, Tim, that in the double switch, the guy that comes out of the game is Jose Hernandez, who's 2 out of 3, including a 2-run homer.
And a red-hot hitter, and sometimes for that double switch, when you try to save your bullpen, you hurt your offense. And that's what the Cubs have done in this game.
That is obviously a residual effect.
Right.
From a 16-3 game here last night.
That's a very, very good point. A spent bullpen for Jim Riggleman last night, and he does not have the luxury of going deep with his bullpen today. And that's why he was forced into the double switch.
Tatis with 2-on-2 out, 0-1 from Terry Adams. Trying to stop the bleeding here. It's been a 3-run inning for St. Louis. 1-1. Tatis is starting to settle in with St. Louis. Had a couple of doubles and a single here last night. He has a hit this afternoon, 1 out of 3, as you see on the box score. Top of the order is doing damage, as is the bottom of the order, with Mabry in there as the pinch hitter. And he started this with a leadoff double on the very first pitch he got from Mark Clark. Here's the 1-1. Broken back to the third baseman, Alexander. Safe at second, and the bases are loaded. An infield hit for Tatis.
Just a great play by Manny Alexander. Not only was it close at second, but temporarily Alexander saves a run with this play.
Gant with help for Bob Davidson, the second base umpire. And a great effort by Alexander just into the game. Now the bases are loaded for Eli Marrero, who's 2 out of 3 today. Marrero unloaded on strike 1.
That's one of those bail and whale swings. You bail out and swing as hard as you can in case you hit it.
Marrero did not. Not the same result. And that's strike 2 in a hurry. McGwire, the lead man at third, with Gant at second. He has an RBI in the inning, and Tatis an infield single. Marrero set up at 0-2. Adams trying to get out of this long 7th inning. And he does. Marrero saw 3 pitches, flailed at all 3, and Adams gets the inning-ending strikeout. 9 men to the plate, 3 runs on the board, and the Cardinals now up by 2.
Large cheese. Somebody order a pizza.
And stuff back and forth each other. People are screaming. Bradshaw's got his arms flailing around. I said, that looks like fun.
Brantley in the 5-hole for Gantz. Mabry stays in the game. Brantley in the 5-hole for Gantz. Brantley. Mabry stays in the game.
That's the situation. Mabry improves the Cardinal defense. He's got one of the better throwing arms in the league. He's now in left field. Gantz played well, and he leaves the game on a high note with an RBI single. And Jeff Brantley is the new Cardinal pitcher. He has struggled mightily this season. He's been better lately.
Shoulder surgery last winter, and the Cardinals thought he was okay. They traded a guy who's having a good year with Cincinnati, Dimitri Young. And yet Jeff, because of that weakness in the throwing shoulder, has not pitched as well as he had in the past. He has really struggled trying to build up arm strength.
And he is no longer the closer here in St. Louis. That job belongs to Rick Croushore for the moment. And for the most part, Croushore has been a very pleasant surprise for St. Louis. Here's Manny Alexander, first at bat. Leading off the 8th inning, Cubs trail by 2. And a strike from Brantley. And Brantley's arm has been getting more and more healthy. So has his velocity. You can see him hit 90 on the radar gun with that first pitch.
That's where the radar gun is really important when you're trying to build up arm strength. And certainly that's the case with Jeff Brantley.
Here's the 0-1. Alexander, Blauser, and Morandini. Here's the 1-1 to Alexander. Over the outside corner, and a strike from Brantley. Cardinals have Brantley under contract next season. So he is a project the rest of this year to get healthy for next year. On 1 and 2. Alexander's gone, and you can see Brantley. If you joined us a couple of weeks ago when he blew a save against the Dodgers, he's throwing a lot better now. Right now, for a Coors Light game break, back to Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
Okay, Joe and Tim, thank you very much. Russ Davis has had an up and down year for Seattle. A lot of people want to talk about the 30 errors, and rightfully they should. But in 97 games, this man has hit 16 home runs now. Seattle leads Detroit 8-3 at Dodger Stadium.
Thank you, Chip Carey. 1 out, nobody on for Blauser, who takes a strike, and Jeff is now under 230 at 229. He's 0 for 3 today. Just low. A ball and a strike. Glenn Allen Hill left this game 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Kelly to his right, little backhanded pickup, 2 up, 2 down. Could very well, Tim, be looking at the 1999 everyday second baseman for the Cardinals.
Delano Shields is hurt right now. Fine play by Kelly. Going to his right and picking Wilson.
Shields, by the way, could play tomorrow. He works his way back from knee surgery. What an offensive year he's having this year. He is a free agent. 1 ball, no strikes, and Morandini. One and 1.
Question marks for the Cardinals in 1999. There are a few.
At a few key positions. Yeah. Shortstop or Daz play defensively. You wonder about his hitting, and he's going to have to get his feet underneath him. Jordan a free agent. The Shields a free agent. 2 and 1 on Morandini. Nobody on, and Morandini takes ball 3, 3 and 1.
Trailing by 2 with Grace on deck.
Your run's no good for the most part. Trying to fight your way on base. Morandini may be taking here.
The 3-1 to Mickey. Full count, he was taken.
We were talking about earlier how this guy knows how to play the game. He makes very few mental mistakes.
Brantley on 3-2. Morandini flies to center. Jeff Brantley comes in a 2-run game and has a 1-2-3 inning. That's a lift for Brantley and the Cardinals. Bottom of the 8th inning. Cardinals bat up by 2.
Mambo into Red Lobster and try our 30 shrimp dinner.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium. Go and win it for Jack and Harry. We'll talk about Jack Brickhouse in a moment. As we look at our Toyota game summary, the Cardinals batted around in the 7th inning, scoring 3 runs. Jumped out in front 5-3. Cubs have been hitless with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals have not. McGwire's gone deep today, and Sosa has not. We will see Sammy Sosa before the end of the afternoon. It'll be Grace, Sosa, and Lance Johnson for the Cubs in the 9th inning. Right now it's Mabry who led off last inning as a pinch hitter and doubled. One hopper to short. Blauser a nice play to his left. 1-1. Well, we talked about Jack Brickhouse, who was the voice of the Cubs for over 40 years. 1940 through 1981 in baseball, and the Cubs lost a dear member of its family when Jack Brickhouse passed away this past year with that famous hey hey home run call.
Fires away. That's the fly ball. Deep to left. Back. That's it. That's it. Hey hey. He did it. Ernie Banks got number 500.
So our condolences to the Brickhouse family and to the Chicago Cubs during the calendar year of 1998. They have lost 2 Hall of Famers in Jack Brickhouse and Harry Carey. The voices of baseball in Chicago, really dating back to 1940 when Jack Brickhouse took over.
Now, Harry Carey was bigger than life in Chicago and St. Louis, too. 25 years here with the Cardinals, and Jack Brickhouse was beloved.
So with 1 out, nobody on, here's Ordaz, who's had a good day today in the field and at the plate. No home run with a single back in the 5th, and he dropped down a good bunt in the 7th.
So we feel reasonably sure that Jack Brickhouse and Harry Carey are watching comfortably from above, but where's Steve Fawcett right now? What do you think?
Steve Fawcett is the balloonist who has left from
Mendoza, Argentina instead of Busch Stadium.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And somebody who is near and dear to those in Chicago. He's from Chicago, and the last few flights he's taken off from Busch Stadium here in St. Louis.
At 4,900 miles from Mendoza, Argentina to Cape Town, South Africa. And at his present, at this pace, he'll be there in about 4 days.
Ordaz strikes out. 2 up, 2 down for the Cardinals in the 8th inning.
I don't know if I'm a balloonist and going to be mentioned on national television that you take off from Mendoza, Argentina, since the Mendoza line in baseball is known for the 216 average of Mario Mendoza, the infamous shortstop of the Pittsburgh Pirates for so many years.
Here's Pat Kelly with 2 out, nobody on. Tim, do me a favor. If I ever hit the Powerball and I have more money than I know what to do with, don't let me.
Don't let you go out on a
fly around the world in a balloon.
No. No.
1 ball, no strikes on Kelly, a 280 hitter.
You got a deal.
All right. Kelly is 2 out of 4 today, and he drove home a run back in the 7th inning. In fact, he drove home the tying run, scored the go-ahead run. Later, Jordan scored another, and it's 5-3 Cardinals now in the 8th. Back to Adams. A good 8th inning. They went down in order 1, 2, 3. A high throw, but out. And we go to the 9th. Rick Croushore getting ready for the Cardinals in the bullpen. He'll enter and try to save it. least one RBI away from Brian Jordan in the third. But right now, his thoughts are on pounding something here in the ninth inning with the Cubs batting and trailing by 2 against Rick Croushore.
Rich Croushore, the 26-year-old reliever who started the season at the AAA affiliate of the Cardinals, Memphis, Tennessee. As a matter of fact, Croushore still has his apartment in Memphis, telling me last week that he really wasn't sure whether he'd be sent down or not.
And then being superstitious like all other baseball players.
Absolutely. You don't get rid of the apartment from the minor leagues because you might not stay up here that long. Might have to go back and sign another lease.
So Grace, Sosa, and Lance Johnson bat for Chicago. And the Cubs, who lost here last night 16-3, trail by 2. It's 5-3 in the ninth and a ball from Croushore.
And Grace taking a strike. And the reason is his run is not the one that's going to tie the game. But that guy on deck can if Grace gets aboard. So he'll be taking here.
One problem with Croushore, which we pointed out last week. At times he has trouble throwing strikes, which is not good for a major league closer. On 4 straight, a leadoff walk to Grace. And the Cubs have a fighting chance here in the ninth inning.
Scouting report on Rick Croushore. A good fastball. Dave Duncan out to talk to Rick right now. But as Joe said, wildness has been the problem. One of the few guys as a right-handed pitcher that throws a screwball. For whatever reason, that pitch is designed more for left-handed pitchers than right-handers. But of course, you got to get ahead to use that pitch.
A leadoff walk, Sosa at the plate. Here are Sammy's thoughts on the home run chase versus team goals.
I'm always saying that a guy that have opportunity to break the record is Mark McGwire. And right now, I'm not thinking about chasing nobody. I'm thinking about chasing the division, which is this is my goal right now. And we had a chance to win the division. If we do that, we're going to be in the playoff, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for chasing nobody. I'm looking forward to go out there and do my job every day and play hard.
Here's a time where he's looking to hit a home run. The tying run at the plate. Sosa into center field. Langford back at the track, at the wall, and gone. Number 44 for Sosa. Sammy Sosa goes deep. Home run number 44.
And if you hit him hard enough and far enough, you don't have to run around the bases.
He glides around the bases after McGwire went deep earlier. Croushore, a walk and a homer. A bad combination for St. Louis. Music to the ears of the Cubs.
The second hitter of the bottom of the ninth because of this. A 1-0 fastball. 5 straight balls by Rick Croushore committed him to come into the zone. SOS alert.
And here's the 0-1 pitch to Lance Johnson. A ball and a strike from Painter. The numbers for Painter, the only left-hander the Cardinals have had in their bullpen. since the season began. It's 2-1 on Johnson. Nobody on or out. So it's starting fresh with a leadoff type hitter, Lance Johnson, who is hitting only 175. He has only 120 at-bats. Suffered through an injury-plagued season with a bad hand, and he takes ball 3, 3-1.
It wasn't the Sosa home run that killed the Cardinals. It was that 4-ball walk to Mark Grace. You've got to make Mark Grace put the ball in play somewhere.
3-2 on Johnson.
If he gets a hit, you're leading by 2 runs, and obviously that's what I'm sure that's what one of the things Tony La Russa is thinking about right now. He gets a hit, and then Sosa hits a home run. At least they've earned it.
Lance Johnson draws a walk, and he's at first with nobody out as he heads down the baseline. So a walk, and the first 3 here in the 9th inning have reached. Back in the 4th inning, number 46. Off Mark Clark, off the bat of Mark McGwire. Here in the 9th inning, Sammy Sosa went deep for number 44.
From long ball to little ball, now expect a bunt. This is a very, very important game. Jose Nieves, his first at-bat of the year. Make that 0 for 1, his second at-bat of the year. Just called up from the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks. Double-A affiliate of the Cubs.
One on, nobody out for Nieves. A ball from Painter. Well, the blown saves have piled up like really no other time for the Cardinals. 26 to lead the major leagues. Brantley struggled early. Now Croushore is struggling. Of course, you mentioned the great shortstops through the history of this franchise. They've also had a history of very good closers. As Nieves takes ball 2, 2-0. Both the Cubs and the Cardinals shared Bruce Sutter. You go to guys like Worrell, Henke, Eckersley,
Joe Horner back in the late 60s.
How about the all-time save leader in Lee Smith? The Cubs and the Cardinals shared him.
Barney Schultz in the second half of 1964. Cardinals won the World Championship.
Go to first, and Johnson gets back. So not only has Painter come on to walk Lance Johnson, Nieves is up there to bunt, and now he's up on the count, 2-0. And the bunt in the air. McGwire will make the play on Nieves, and the sacrifice is good, 3 unassisted. Down to second, the go-ahead run here in the 9th inning for Rodriguez, with Sosa to follow. Service, I should say. And the bunt puts the go-ahead run into scoring position. Here's Henry Rodriguez, 0 for 3. With 1 out, Rodriguez pops it up. Shallow left, McGee comes on. And he and Ordaz collide. The catch is made for the second out, and Ordaz got it right in the face, didn't he?
Looks like he was literally low-bridged by Willie McGee. That's a much easier play with McGee coming in and Ordaz going out. And watch that elbow right up under the right eye of Luis Ordaz. Looks like he's got a shiner from that.
I'll tell you, Willie McGee can't call for it any more decisively than that. He even put his hand up to his face to yell.
You can see right there, but you know, with the crowd roaring and everything, sometimes you just can't hear the guy you have to hear to avoid an injury.
And now on a warm day in St. Louis, Ordaz looks a little groggy as Barry Weinberg, the trainer, checks on him.
or dazed.
And confused. So Ordaz went out. Boy, ranged a long way into left field. McGee, who plays a deep outfield, came on to make the catch. Or I should say, Ordaz went back to make the catch, and it was McGee coming in with a forearm. Drilled Ordaz around the chin area. And Ordaz getting a good look from Barry Weinberg. And we mentioned the Cardinals designated Gary Gaetti for assignment before the game. Infielder wise, the Cardinals have only Placido Polanco left on their bench. We'll see if Ordaz will continue here in the 9th inning.
The one thing that Luis did, he continued and completed the play. He didn't go down until he had turned and looked at the infield to see whether the runner at second base, Lance Johnson, was advancing or not. And then he went down. Looks like he's all right.
So Ordaz, the one that made the catch on the pop-up. And it'll be Scott Service at the plate with a go-ahead run at second and 2 out. Tony La Russa is wearing a microphone for us today. Fox Sounds of the Game. Here's what he had to say as that meeting took place out behind short.
What did you collide with, Will?
I didn't feel nothing. The ball got him. I didn't feel nothing right here.
You feel something in your chin?
Yeah. Actually, we lost consciousness.
Perdiste consciousness.
A little bit. Okay. You see? You got it? No. Is that when you hit it?
¿A dónde le cogiste el golpe? ¿A dónde cogiste el golpe? Ahí al lado.
Okay. Relax, okay? So we're gonna relax a second, okay? Dizzy? A little bit?
Well, you get a good idea of another talent that Tony La Russa has. Fluent in Spanish from Ybor City in Tampa. That was the collision as Painter deals low to Service, and we're back to action with a go-ahead run at second, 2 out in the 9th.
Those of you folks who may not know, Ybor City is actually in Tampa, and it's primarily, I think, settled as a Spanish-speaking area.
And in a 5-5 game in the 9th inning, Ordaz able to continue. Lance Johnson, the runner at second, 2 out, and Service off Painter's glove to Keller. Scoring 1-4-3, and the inning is over, so the Cubs get enough to tie on Sosa's 44th of the year. That means we'll see McGwire in the bottom of the 9th of a 5-5 game.
You know what I heard? McGwire to hit in this inning, and you see the numbers for Karchner. He was a stopper for the White Sox, hurt for a month after a fair start, and this is his 4th game with the Cubs. Matt Karchner. And here's once again, with a count 1 ball and no strikes, the home run by Sammy Sosa to tie it in the top of the 9th inning with Mark Grace aboard. Something that I just thought about. Now, this might be weird reasoning, but if you're Brian Jordan and you hit a ball down either line, do you stop it first? He hit a double his last time up, a double in the corner, because you know they're going to walk Jordan. I think the Cardinals' best chance to win this game is to get McGwire up. And if you're Jordan, I mean, you're going to have a pinch hitter for the pitcher. The pitcher spot's hitting after McGwire right now. I beg your pardon, Ray Lankford, and then the pitcher. It's just an interesting thought. I don't think Brian Jordan's going to do it. But if you do stop it first, you almost commit the Cubs to pitch to Jordan.
Leading it off in the 9th inning of a 5-5 game. McGwire waits on deck. Jordan waits at the plate. Karchner deals, ball 1. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Jordan. Pretty well hit into right center field. Johnson back at the track, run away. And that means that McGwire will bat with the bases empty.
Earlier in the game, that's a double. But because the outfield's deep, it was caught.
So now McGwire, who today has flied to right, homered, number 46, RBI number 103, by the way, walked unintentionally, walked intentionally, digs in, facing Karchner, and a ball to McGwire.
I'll tell you, I'd entertain walking him intentionally right now with 1 out. Not to lead off the inning, but with 1 out. Would you?
I've seen a lot of teams do it that way. 2 balls, no strikes. Would I?
I mean,
probably.
Something to consider right now. You're behind him 2-0.
Langford on deck. Mulholland getting ready for the Cubs in their bullpen. Certainly can't groove one on 2-0 or he'll end it. And they're pitching around McGwire now, it would seem. Whether from the start or after falling behind 2-0, we don't know. Here's the 3-0. Comes back after him with a strike, but not a 3-0 belt-high fastball.
It's like a slider on the outside part.
The 3-1. Outside corner, strike 2. So now Karchner's coming back to try to get it. The 3-2. Ball 4 to put the winning run on with 1 out here in the 9th inning.
Well, it took a while to get there, but ultimately McGwire walks. 3 walks in the ball game.
Amendment.
Mulholland is coming out of the bullpen to relieve Matt Karchner, who gives up a 1-out walk to Mark McGwire. We will take a break. When we come back, Mulholland against Langford in a tie game, 9th inning.
Mambo into Red Lobster and try our 30 shrimp dinner.
At this pace, McGwire is scheduled to walk 162 times, which would be a National League record. Last night, Ray Langford in the first inning helped the Cardinals along to an 11-run frame, a 3-run shot, his 20th of the year. He's up on the count here, 2-1. Just for your own information, baseball's record, Babe Ruth walked 170 times in 1923. Langford unloaded 2-2.
Ray Langford loves the ball downstairs. He is the typical hitter that pitchers try to go up the ladder with. Not here. Up the ladder.
Here's the 2-2. Langford strikes out. 2 away. And it'll be up to McGee, who will walk to the plate. And by the way, that is the 5th time this afternoon that Langford has struck out. There's the pitch that got him. McGee walks to the plate for the first time today. McGee as beloved as any player here in St. Louis as he chases one, strike 1. To the third baseman, Alexander. Goes the easy way to force out 5-4, and we go to the 10th. The Cubs will send in Alexander, Blauser, Morandini. It's a 5-5 game.
I talked to my mom.
Holland was with the Chicago Cubs, well, Petkazik, in a year that has certainly not seen a surplus of pitchers, just the opposite for the Cardinals. They've had 14 starters this year, by far the most in the majors. One of those starters has been, on occasion, Mark Petkaisi. I think this guy is a very, very valuable member of the Cardinal staff.
So the Cardinals blew their 28th save of the year. The Cubs cashed in the 9th inning on a 2-run shot by Sosa after a leadoff walk to Grace, handed out by Kraushaw, who's charged with the 2 runs. Painter got through the rest of the inning to keep it tied. The combination of Karchner and Mulholland did their jobs in the 9th inning. And it's the number 9 man, Manny Alexander, leading off for Chicago. Alexander takes a strike. The Cardinals with only 2 pitchers left in their bullpen. The Cubs only 2 on their side as well. 1-1 on Alexander, 0 for 1 since entering back in the 7th. Strike 2.
That one hurt. Looked like it was off the shin guard of Eli Marrero, the catcher. Shots like that in this oppressively hot town. Nope, it was off the right shoulder. Ouch. That can just wear you down over the course of the season. Heat in St. Louis. Foul tips. Takes a young man to play that position in this town, man. Whew.
Ball and 2 strikes on Alexander. Just missing outside, 2-2. Manny tries to set it up for Blauser and Morandini. Anybody gets on in the inning, Grace. Anybody after that, Sosa. That's on the infield for Tatis. Alexander is gone, 1 away. Who does Jim Riggleman have left on his bench? Got 3 lefties: Brown, Houston, and Martinez. Blauser fouls it away.
Only 2 relievers left for the Cubs. It's Dave Stevens and Rod Beck, their closer. Cardinals with only 2. Bobby Witts left and Curtis King.
There they are.
Yep.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Dave, Joe, the Cubs did not want this type of game this afternoon. Not after last night, losing to the Cardinals 16-3.
Something like this 48-hour period that can wear on you for the next week, as Blauser gets a base hit into right center field, and the go-ahead run is on for Chicago. 1 on, 1 out with Morandini coming up, and this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Morandini today is 1 out of 3 with a single and a walk. One on, 1 out for Chicago.
I think Blauser will be off. A hit and run will be tried sometime in this at bat. The reason for that, if you make an out, you've got Blauser on at second base with 2 outs, and now Petkaisi has to pitch to Mark Grace because Sosa will be on deck.
Just short, right through Ordaz into left field, and Blauser will take the turn but stop at second on a rocket hit by Morandini. Back-to-back hits, and the Cubs have it working here in the 10th.
And this ball just eats the young Ordaz up. Blauser had an idea of going to third base. By the time he rounded the bag, looked like he may have hurt his left ankle. Sometimes you put the skids on too early, but the Cardinals in real trouble right here.
Here is Grace, one of the league's best. Today 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. 2 on, 1 out, tie game, ball 1. Sosa on deck. Ball 2 to Grace. Ron Beck getting ready in case the Cubs grab the lead here in the 10th. Two and 0 on Grace with 2 on, 1 out. Inside, and it's 3 and 0. Grace, who drew the walk his last time up in front of Sosa's 44th, waits for a 3-0 pitch. To the shortstop. Ordaz will step and throw, and that is the 14th double play that Grace has hit into in 1998. And that leaves Sosa on deck. Back after this from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox.
One sail behind it. Normally, if a pitcher throws behind the hitter, it's a knockdown pitch. It's about as good as it gets right here, depending on what side of the ledger you're on. If you're a Cardinal fan, you don't like it.
Tatis steps in and pops it into right for Sosa. Long run. Down the line. It's a fair ball and a double. A leadoff double by Fernando Tatis in the 10th.
When John Mabry pinch hit and hit that double in the 7th inning, we talked about Sammy Sosa having something wrong with his leg. Appeared that he limped after that ball. But again, with a ball with that much hang time, you'd think a good outfielder, and certainly Sammy is that, you'd think he'd have a play on it. Sometimes you get burned on that prevent defense too, Joe. You put all your outfielders too deep, and they can't catch a ball they normally catch.
So now Jim Riggleman will trot out and talk to his entire infield, his catcher, his pitcher. You've got Marrero up. You've got the pitcher spot, Pekajzik to follow Marrero. And on the bench, this is if you bunt with Marrero, obviously, to get the winning run over to third with, if the bunt's successful, 1 out. The Cubs get the right-hander, their closer Beck ready. The Cardinals are left with only Tom Pagnazzi and Placido Polanco on their bench. So I say all that in an effort to say it's not a guarantee that Marrero's up there to bunt.
That's right.
Here's what Jim Riggleman had to say out there on the field.
Hey, Terry. All right, guys, we're going to get out of this right here. Mark, same way. You're going to be coming in there. Vic, get over there close to the bag enough, but you can still get over there. Let's don't tip it off too much. Blouse be over there.
I got to go early.
Huh?
If we're not holding on that close, yeah.
Okay, Blouse. Vic, Nick, he's going to hold him a little bit. You get over. You can drift a little bit. We're going to try to get you out of third base. All right, let's go. Let's make a play there if we can. Come on.
So Marrero at the plate, winning run at second, and Marrero is going to bunt, and that's strike 1.
You heard Jim Riggleman and Jeff Blauser as Riggleman was explaining the strategy. Blauser said, but I've got to get over there quickly, which means he's got to leave his shortstop position. And so Riggleman told Mickey Morandini to hold the runner on at second base. So Morandini is almost like a first baseman now, and Blauser is halfway between second and third base. With all that said, Alexander could be changing the play.
He goes in to talk to Mulholland. He saw the bunt effort by Marrero. See if the Cardinals stick with it. Not so sure they'll stick with the punt. A look back at Tatis, who carries the winning run in his back pocket, of the Cubs, who came to St. Louis having lost 2 of 3 at home to Arizona, lost big here last night. Marrero will bunt, and he bunts it foul, and that's strike 2. Nothing and 2 on Marrero, who has not looked very good trying to bunt Mulholland on the first 2 pitches.
Terry Mulholland, realizing that Marrero was bunting, tried to crowd him to try to keep the ball up, so the hitter has a tough time getting on top of the ball when he's trying to bunt. I don't think he'll be bunting again, but I tell you, this year I have seen more 2-strike bunt attempts than any other year I can remember.
Trying to swing and go to the right side on an inside delivery, and it stays 0-2.
That's the one thing that Mulholland will do. He will just eat right-handed hitters up inside. That was a real defensive swing from Eli Marrero.
So it's still 0-2 with Tatis at second and nobody out. A 5-5 game in the 10th. Marrero trying to go the other way, and it's still 0-2.
You folks at home can watch Scott Service, the catcher, as you look at Petkazik on deck. Maybe see ball back for a pinch hitter unless Marrero gets on without making an out. But Mulholland is trying to pitch inside to keep Marrero from hitting the ball the other way to move the runner.
And he does go the other way on a line to Grace, and they can't get the double play. Tatis nearly doubled off second on the line drive to Grace.
I tell you, that is a terrific piece of hitting by Eli Marrero. Hitting that slider, breaking ball down and in the other way. Just punches it the other way. But Mark McGwire makes the play. Or Mark Grace, I beg your pardon. It was very, very close at second base.
I'm not so sure he wasn't out.
Very close.
Watching that on the replay. The Cardinals caught a break there maybe as Pagnazzi walks in. Here's another look.
Good call. He was in there.
I think he was out.
Looked like his foot. I thought his foot hit the front part of the bag initially.
Here's Pagnazzi in a high delivery. Strike 1. Winning run at second with 1 out for St. Louis. Pagnazzi with a ground ball to short, picked up by Blauser. His throw to first, high but out. And we'd like to welcome those of you watching Atlanta and San Francisco. You joined us on the 0-1 delivery to Pagnazzi. He hit it right at Blauser, and after a leadoff double, Tatis is standing at third with 2 out for a rookie shortstop for Daz. It's a 5-5 game here in the 10th inning. The Cardinals trailed 3-0, then 3-2. A day in which we've seen McGwire go deep for home run number 46, and Sosa go deep in the 9th inning to tie it. A 2-run shot, his 44th home run of the year. And we're still tied. We're in the bottom of the 10th. And there's the winning run. Tatis at third with 2 out for Luis Ordaz.
And Jeff Blauser had a play on Tatis at third base. 1 out, Tatis running all the way. But Jeff electing to go to first.
Show those of you who haven't seen it. The Sosa home run, this in the 9th inning after a leadoff walk to tie it. And for Sammy Sosa, home run number 44. That made it a 5-5 game, and we're still 5-5 in the bottom of the 10th. Winning run at third, 2 out, and 1 ball, 1 strike on Ordaz, who is 1 for 3 today. Terry Mulholland trying to send this game to the 11th. That's a little flare into right. Sosa the long run. He's there, and we do go to inning number 11. The 11th inning coming up in St. Louis. Sosa leads it off for Chicago. Bracket of 2-0, an ERA of under 3.5, and he will work to Sosa, Johnson, and then the pitcher spot is due for Chicago.
See Terry Mulholland, his spot coming up, and they're 2 out, nobody on. Jim Riggleman, because of bullpen fatigue, may allow Mulholland to hit for himself. But first things first, with Sosa leading it off.
By the way, because this game has progressed the way it has, we are guaranteed of seeing McGwire bat again. We would like to welcome those of you watching Atlanta and San Francisco as Sammy Sosa walks to the plate. He's already homered once today. He has hit 44 on the year. He's driven in 113. And his 2-run home run in the 9th inning is the reason we're still playing in the 11th. Curtis King, the new Cardinal pitcher. McGwire will bat in the bottom of the 11th. Sosa, Johnson, and the pitcher spot for the Cubs in the 11th inning. Curtis King, the 7th pitcher of the afternoon for St. Louis, delivers low. Over the outside corner, 1-1. For today in St. Louis, these two sluggers, Sosa and McGwire, have gone head-to-head. McGwire went deep first, Sosa followed, and that's out of play for strike 2. Sammy trying to reach base for the 3rd time this afternoon. Outfield straight away for Sosa. And had him reaching. Tatis gets the high hop, takes his time, and got him at first. Fernando Tatis nearly took too long.
With a guy like Sosa running, the one thing you don't do is look at the ball. You get it and throw it as quickly as possible. Only a strong arm by Tatis saved him from an embarrassing infield hit. Sosa's smoking down the line. You look at it right there. That takes time. And Sosa just out at first base by a shoelace. The width of the shoelace.
Tatis does have a strong arm, but no sense laying back trying to show it off. In a 5-5 game in the 11th inning, Jim Riggleman out to argue mildly with Tom Hallion, who got the play right.
He did.
I have a feeling we won't be running any audio of that discussion.
No. Not the sounds of the game. No.
Lance Johnson, who walked his only appearance back in the 9th inning. Another former Cardinal farmhand as he takes the ball up and away. Here it is, and there's the out. Just before Sosa put that left foot on the bag. 1-1 on Lance Johnson. Credit Sosa.
Absolutely.
Took nothing for granted and nearly beat the throw from Tatis. A little punch shot into left field, and Lance Johnson's on with a 1-out base hit. 1 on, 1 out for Chicago in the 11th. And Mulholland will be lifted for a pinch hitter.
Off the end of the bat, a little flare to left field for Lance Johnson. Willie McGee playing very, very deep. I understand why they're doing that. But we mentioned it the last time. Sometimes that prevents defense. You see it in football. That beats some football teams. And sometimes that does end some baseball teams, too.
Tyler Houston will bat for Mulholland, and the Cubs will go back to the bullpen. And will call on Beck, it appears, no matter what happens. So Houston is the pinch hitter for Chicago. Jim Riggleman is left with Sandy Martinez and Brant Brown on his bench, and only Beck and Stevens in his bullpen. Lance Johnson, the go-ahead runner at first. Johnson has stolen 3 this season in a ball to Tyler Houston. Curtis King trying to keep Lance Johnson close at first. A check on him. Houston pops it foul, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Normally when you see a matchup of home run hitters, and certainly Sosa and McGwire, the dominant home run hitters in the game along with Griffey, and they've homered, but rarely do you see all the power coming into play in a game where there's been so much strategy as this game. 3 double switches, almost all the players used up for both sides.
Houston gets into one to right. Jordan back at the track, and the wall is gone. The Cubs take a 7-5 lead. Jim Riggleman pulled the right string as he sent Houston to the plate here in the 11th.
Riggleman pulling the right string, Curtis King pulling the wrong one.
And a ball low to Henry Rodriguez. Houston a rocket. Wow, what a play by Kelly. 2 out. Rodriguez with a bullet up the middle, and Kelly took that bullet base hit away.
Bulletproof. What a play by Pat Kelly. Wow. That's a big league play right there, folks.
2 out, nobody on, and Service takes a strike. A 1-out hit by Lance Johnson, followed by a pinch hit 2-run homer from Tyler Houston. And the Cubs, who at one point led 3-0, regained the lead here in the 11th inning, 7-5. Strike 2 on Service. We are set up for a Rod Beck, Mark McGwire matchup in the bottom of the 11th. Off King, and that should be a base hit for Houston. It is, as it stays on the infield. Tyler Houston is right now the hero of the moment. Much to the dismay of Curtis King and to the delight of Jimmy Riggleman. The ball low to Manny Alexander. Manny hitless today. He took over in the 7th inning in a double switch. 2-0. Alexander pops it up. Behind first, McGwire. There's going to be a circus catch. That ends the inning. It gives you a good idea what kind of an athlete McGwire is. But right now, it's Tyler Houston's moment. With that, the Cubs take an 11th inning, 7-5 lead.
How you doing, Sarge? Okay, folks, what'll it be? What would you like, sweetheart?
A Pepsi, please.
Sorry, we only have Coke. Now you've done it.
You're sorry? Not half as sorry as you're gonna be. I ordered a Pepsi, pal.
She's got a mind of her own.
What's with this guy?
Look, I just thought...
You thought? What you really thought was that I don't know the difference between Pepsi and a Coke, right?
Here's your Pepsi.
Thank you. Mmm.
Kids say the darndest things.
What are you looking at?
I like this place.
You're so lucky. Not one gray hair.
When a woman can run her fingers through your hair and can't tell you blend away your gray, that's a natural-looking result. And that's just what you get with the hair color called Just for Men. Simply shampoo in, then rinse. In only 5 minutes, this unique formula blends away gray, actually matches your gray to your real color. So nobody knows, even close up.
I just love your hair.
Just for Men. It looks so natural, even she can't tell.
We would sit around and watch some of what your guys' show was about.
Oh, you admit to that?
Oh, well, yeah, a little bit during the commercial breaks and the whole thing. And we'd be over there, and we're very serious, and it was sort of newsy, and that was the way we did things.
Well, you guys are talking about world wars, huh?
Yeah, and then we watch you guys do a little bit, and you're throwing stuff back and forth at each other. People are screaming. Bradshaw's got his arms flailing around. I said, that looks like fun.
Fox NFL Sunday returns September 6th.
Brant Brown comes in the ball game for defense. Henry Rodriguez out of there. And also in the game, Rod Beck. 33 saves on the year. There's Brant Brown. So Rod Beck is in there. And one of the reasons that Rod is so effective, he has a late break on his splitter. Hitters have a very difficult time picking it up. Boy, you talk about a closer from Central Casting. He is it. Here's the scouting report on Rod. There's that great late drop on the splitter. And the fastball now only ordinary, but I mean, this guy looks like his hair is part of his cap. It looks like the hair came with a cap.
It's like one of those Gallagher hats.
Yeah, that's it does. He looks like Gallagher. You got it. Nice going.
Thank you. And I'm not going to make fun of the fact that Gallagher made a career out of smashing watermelons because I know you're a Gallagher fan.
I am a huge Gallagher fan.
Top of the order will bat for the Cardinals here in the 11th inning with Chicago leading 7-5, and Scott Service goes over to get something out of his eye, helped by the trainer. Pat Kelly waits to hit. It'll be Kelly, Jordan, and McGwire with the Cubs up by a couple. Well, we remind you, as we do every week, don't forget to check out In the Zone. And a look at Rod Beck. His love for drag racing. Detailed on Fox. Look at this shot. It's coming. Driven in a run, scored a run. And a little pop-up for the second baseman, Morandini, and the Cubs are 2 outs away from a victory. Well, this is already, Tim, with 1 game to go tomorrow, been a wild weekend here at Busch Stadium with a total of 31 runs scored, 43 hits, 22 pitchers used, and of the 6 home runs, Sosa has 1 and McGwire has 1.
14 of those 31 runs scored in the first inning of last night's game.
Here's Jordan. One out, nobody on, and strike one to Jordan. McGwire next. He will bat before the end of the day. 7-5 Chicago, 11th inning, and Blauser can't make the play under his glove. Jordan stays put, and that gives McGwire a chance to tie it.
Jeff Blauser expected the hop and didn't get it. Stayed under the glove. What a situation we have right here.
Second error of the day by Blauser. We'd like to welcome those of you watching the Mets in Colorado. Welcome to St. Louis, where Mark McGwire has a chance to tie the game with a home run. Sosa did that for the Cubs in the 9th inning. For Sammy, it was number 44. McGwire's already homered today. He has 46, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Cardinals playing the Cubs, St. Louis playing Chicago, and it's Houston who's trying to win this game with a home run. That happened in the top of this 11th inning. A pinch hit 2-run homer. McGwire way out in front. 1-2. Back to the 4th inning. And there goes number 46. McGwire had gone homerless in his last 29 at-bats before that swing. Now he waits for the 1-2 from Beck. Struck him out. 2 gone.
We talked about the late break on that splitter. McGwire didn't pick it up. This is as wicked a splitter as you can find right there. McGwire misses it, not only over it, but he never extended the bat head.
And the last chance for the Cardinals. The man standing in the way of a victory for the Cubs, Ray Langford. Jordan takes off. They weren't holding against him. And no stolen base given to Jordan because of fielders, catchers' indifference. Langford into left field. That ball's got a chance to tie this game at the wall. 7-7 in the 11th.
Had struck out 5 times before this at bat. Make good.
Brown wanted to go through the wall to catch that ball in left. Now McGee lines to Morandini, and we're going to the 12th.
And we're running out of players.
We told you this was a wild weekend at Busch. It just got wilder. 12th inning, 7-7.
Open.
We've got action. An opposite field home run by Ray Langford off Rod Beck. 2 unearned runs. Cardinal bench explodes. This big crowd exploded, and Rod Beck gave up the 2-run home run as Jeff Blauser grounds to third on the very first pitch of the 12th. Tatis takes care of it. That's one away. Tim Langford's 5 strikeouts ties a Cardinal record held by Richie Allen.
Wow. Richie Allen had to do it in 1970. Matter of fact, I think that's before Richie Allen became Dick Allen.
Here's Morandini taking a ball low and away. And with that home run, by the way, the 10th after the All-Star break for Ray Lankford, who, as we mentioned, despite the 5 strikeouts, has been red hot. Lankford is now the all-time leader in home runs hit at this stadium. One better than one of the best catchers ever to play the game, Ted Simmons. The 2-0 to Morandini. 3-0. And the Cardinal bench starts to get on Jerry Crawford. Morandini trying to reach in front of Grace. There's a strike, and it's 3-1.
Mentioned Dick Allen. He was the first guy to introduce power to this ball club. This ballpark. 34 home runs in 1970.
Morandini, another base hit. He's on base for the 4th time today. So the go-ahead run is on here in the 12th inning, and Grace will be the hitter.
Morandini again lines one to center.
And now Grace with 1 on, 1 out. Mark had 2 on, 1 out in a 3-0 count his last time up in the 10th inning and bounced into an inning-ending 6-3 double play. He might do it again as it gets under the glove of Ordaz into center. Morandini puts his head down, goes to third, and it's first and third, only 1 out with Sosa coming up. Right back up the middle, and Ordaz missed it under his glove into center, and now Sosa could put the Cubs back out in front.
In fairness to Ordaz, this ball takes a tricky hop. It really gathers speed. Excellent base running by Mickey Morandini. What makes that a tough play is Morandini's going down to take out the second baseman on a double play attempt, and your turn from second to third is very wide. Now what do? You pitch to Sosa? Sammy has hit into 15 double plays this year. That's the most on the Cubs.
Sosa pops it up. Backing out of play for strike 1. Mickey Morandini, a 1-out hit. Grace, a bouncer up the middle to make it first and third for Sosa. Welcome back to Busch Stadium, where Sosa has a chance to put the Cubs back out in front. After Ray Lankford tied this game in the bottom of the 11th inning with a 2-out, 2-run home run the opposite way off Rod Beck. To foil Beck's chance for his 34th save. Back-to-back hits with 1 out for the Cubs. And a 1-1 pitch coming to Sosa. Strike 2. Sosa's homer today, a 2-run shot to tie the game back in the 9th inning. And this big standing room only crowd has had more than their money's worth this afternoon. Extra innings, a home run from both Sosa and McGwire. Here's the 1-2 to Sosa. The opposite way, a base hit. Morandini scores. And the Cubs back out in front, 8-7. RBI number 114 for Sammy Sosa. And the Cubs back in front by 1.
After Sosa was behind the 2 fastballs to get to 2 strikes, he gets a hanging slider from Curtis King. Rifles one to right field to again give the Cubs the lead.
Lance Johnson pops it foul and out of play for strike 1. Johnson has walked and singled in his only 2 plate appearances this afternoon. He took over in the 7th. Grace the lead runner at second, Sosa at first, and Johnson takes ball 1. Gray set it up with a bouncer up the middle. They got under the glove of Ordaz and into center. And then Sosa delivered. Johnson reaches up and pops one to right for Jordan. Grace will tag and go to third. It's first and third, 2 out. The Cardinals in the bottom of the 12th inning will have Tatis, who's 3 out of 5 today, Marrero, and then the pitcher's spot.
I think you ought to go ahead and put Brant Brown on deck or on base. You got the pitcher, Rod Beck, on deck. And that's what they're going to do. One of those rare walks where you have runners on at first and third and 2 outs, and you elect to intentionally walk the hitter because Beck's got a hit for himself.
So Beck, who is 1 for 1 at the plate this season with an RBI, will get a chance. The base is loaded, 2 out. So Brant Brown being intentionally walked in his only plate appearance of the day to load him up with 2 out for Rod Beck. Those 2 guys, none might find their way into the game for Jim Riggleman if this thing keeps going. Right now, Sandy Martinez is the only reserve left for the Cubs. Bases loaded, 2 out, and Beck takes a strike. Beck 1 for 1 on the year, and that's rather well hit to right, but Jordan back to get it, and the Cubs get a run. We go to the bottom of the 12th. Tatis, Marrero, and a pinch hitter coming up. Sammy Sosa delivers back for the bottom of the 12th. After this, from your local Fox station.
For in-your-face coverage, log on to foxsports.com.
Do you have a closer like Beck get a chance to get a save and then come up and hit in the bottom of the inning, go out there and have a chance for the win?
Well, I think we've had a couple of occasions here this afternoon already where you just go, huh? Tatis takes the ball low and away.
After all the dust has settled, there's only been 1 more run scored in 4 hours this afternoon. Took these 2 teams to score in the first inning of last night's game.
It's only been 4 hours?
Yeah, only 4.
Here's Tatis. 1 ball, 1 strike. A splitter from Rod Beck. It will be Tatis, Marrero. And the pitcher spot is due for the Cardinals here in the 12th. Again, Rod Beck trying to end this game. Blew the opportunity for save number 34, but he could care less. Strike 2.
And it's a shame that a pitcher like Beck gets a blown save for a situation where a guy like Blauser made the error, or anybody who makes an error. Clearly, that's what led to the at-bat by Langford.
Here's the 1-2 to Tatis. 1 away as Beck brings up his second of the afternoon. That'll bring in Marrero. We talked about these 2 coming into today's game, and they didn't disappoint. Sosa tied this game with a 2-run shot in the 9th inning. Mark McGwire put the Cardinals on the board with a solo blast leading off in the bottom of the 4th, his 46th. Sosa now has 44. And here's Eli Marrero. 1 out, nobody on, 8-7. Chicago leads in the 12th and a ball from Beck. Senior coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox. The producer of today's game is John Filippelli. Today's game directed by Bill Webb. And they have hung in there all day with us. Marrero takes a strike, and it's 1-1.
As far as that fan is concerned right there, this game better be over. In this inning, he's run out of room. That scorecard, there's no room to the right.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. A little slow roller to third. That will bounce foul. Foul ball, and that's strike 2. The senior producer of the studio show is Scott Ackerson. It's produced by Gary Lang and directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are David Hill and Eddie Gorin. Special thanks to Lance Garrett, Steve Horn, Derek Manning, Dave Hill and all of our technical people and Jennifer Love back in the studio. 8-7 in the 12th. There's the 4th inning home run by McGwire, as scored by our newfound friend. Here's the 1-2 to Marrero. Oh, where was that? 2-2.
That's what Rod Beck is thinking. Well, sometimes you keep throwing splitter, 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 and now you fool the umpire by throwing a fastball. Borderline. Could have gone either way.
Now the 2-2 pitch. 3-2 on Marrero. Marrero on 3-2, hits it into deep left field. Are you kidding me? Track wall,
3-2 splitter to Marrero. Only his 3rd home run of the year and his biggest, no question.
The other 2 coming out in San Francisco. The first one he hit, Tim, this season, his first game back off the disabled list after, during the spring, being diagnosed with cancer.
What a story.
Having his thyroid gland removed, and only a couple of weeks later getting back onto the field, not at the big league level, but a few weeks after that, he's playing in San Francisco and he homers. And here he is, number 3 to tie the game here in the 12th inning. And Darren Oliver is going to come off the bench and pinch hit. Here in the 12th inning, he bats for Curtis King.
Well, that's why they made the trade.
That's right. They got 2 bats in the trade. And Oliver hits one to first, a little cue shot for Grace. Darren Oliver didn't come to the park today expecting the pinch hit. He pitches tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt will be the new Cardinal pitcher if this game progresses to the 13th inning. Luis Ordaz, who's had a long day, not only a 4-hour game while playing short, but he took a shot to the jaw from McGee earlier in the game in a collision. So King is off the hook. He allowed 3 runs in 2 innings in the 11th and 12th innings. And if he gets a decision, it'll be a victory. A ball to Ordaz. Six hits in 2 innings as well against King. A 1-0 pitch to Ordaz is a strike. 1-1. Well, you know what, Tim?
What?
Got a chance to see McGwire again. Unless Ordaz ends it, or this game ends before McGwire. Ordaz is the number 9 hitter in the Cardinal lineup as he takes a ball 2-1. By the way, for the Cubs in the 13th inning, Service, Alexander, and Blauser. All of that if this game stays 8-8 here in the 12th. Here's the 2-1 to Ordaz. 2-2.
At this pace, McGwire and Sosa could pass Maris today.
That's right. At this pace, you're right. At this pace, it'll never end. McGwire's already had 6 plate appearances, as has Sosa, and each is homered. Two out, nobody on. Ordaz strikes out, and we go to the 13th inning. Why? Because for the 2nd inning in a row, Rod Beck gives up a home run. Eli Marrero on a 3-2 pitch. Sends this game to the 13th. Gets that reaction from his bench. Here we go again.
Takes over for the Cardinals, and Rod Beck not only gets a full-blown workout today, Tim, but a couple of guys worked him over. A 2-out, 2-run game-tying home run by Langford in the 11th, and a 1-out game-tying home run from Marrero, pictured here, in the 12th.
And remarkably, this is Rod Beck's 55th appearance on the year. And pitching at Wrigley Field, everybody knows how the ball shoots out there. Only the 6th and 7th home runs given up by Beck this year. Cardinals have made him pay. You know, you're hearing about a game like this if you're on the coast or something. Oh, home runs and extra innings. McGwire had to be in there somewhere. Well, Mark hasn't. Then Langford and Marrero.
Langford's 2-run shot in the 11th, Marrero in the 12th, and here is Scott Service to face Bobby Witt, who really has done a good job out of the starting rotation lately for Tony La Russa. Right now he's back in the bullpen. It'll be Service, Alexander, and Blauser. 2-0 on Service, who this afternoon has hit a sac fly, struck out, grounded out twice, and singled. In that order.
Anybody familiar with Bobby Witt realizing that control has been his problem.
Like a changeup. Just floated in there, and Witt gets the comeback.
Well, that would have been ball 3. That ball was above the letters to Scott Service. I mean, if I'm hitting against a guy like Bobby Witt, I've got to make him throw me a strike first. But on the 2-0 pitch, the high fastball, and Scott Service grounds to Witt for the first out.
Yeah, I don't know why that struck me as a changeup, but it was a high fastball. And Service, who's right around the 200 mark, doesn't do himself or the Cubs a favor by chasing ball 3.
Yeah.
Strike 1 on Alexander. Into right field, falling in a hurry. Jordan won't get there, but he holds Alexander to a 1-out single. That is the 7th hit in the last 2 1/3 innings for the Cubs.
They went through the first 8 innings with only 3 hits.
They also had a couple in the 10th. They had one in the 9th, which was a big one, a game-tying 2-run homer. So hit number 13 makes it 1-on, 1-out for Blauser. Alexander on at first with 1 out, and Witt gives him a look. Cardinal and Cub fans who can remember back to 1984, and granted that's not that long ago, the Cubs were making their charge. The NL East, remember a game similar to this at Wrigley. McGee hit for the cycle that day. Bruce Sutter was pitching for the Cardinals and gave up a couple of home runs. Sandberg got him twice. 1-on, 1-out, pitch out, and Alexander stays put.
I remember that game. I was not at that game, but I remember the comment Whitey Herzog made after the game. He called Ryan Sandberg the greatest player ever to play the game.
I'm not sure, but I think Whitey was... There's Rhino. I think Whitey was maybe saying that tongue-in-cheek a little.
Yeah.
One of the greatest second basemen ever to play, certainly. 1-on, 1-out, and a check. Sandberg hit 2 tying home runs off Sutter, and the Cubs won in 11 innings that day, 12-11. Here we are, 8-8, and we're in the 13th inning today. Alexander is still in 4, caught once. Marrero has a good arm behind the plate. Not going, and ball 2 is high. 2-0 on Blauser. You start working back into the heart of the Chicago lineup.
Well, that's the problem with pitching out with a guy like Bobby Witt. He's had a history of control problems. You pitch out, you immediately get him behind in the count. Now 1 more ball, and Blauser in a good hitting position here.
1 on, 1 out, 2-0, and the Cubs might start the runner here. There he goes. And he'll come back, 2-1.
I know a lot of managers like to do that. I know Jim Riggleman is one that does not like to run on a 2-0 or 3-1 count. But to me, when you hit and run with the count 2-0 and 3-1, you're taking an offensive situation for the hitter and making it a defensive situation. I do not think that's a good running count. A lot of baseball people disagree with that, but that's just, I'm just opining my point of view.
2 balls and a strike on Blauser. He can run again. Alexander does not. It's ball 3 high, and it's 3-1. The Cubs smell another rally.
This park has been rancid with rallies the last 3 innings.
Smell them all over the place. 3 balls and a strike. Alexander goes, and he'll have to come back. 3-2. So the Cubs trying to get a little action going on the bases, and the runner returns with a 3-2 count. If he's running on 3-1, you would think he'd run on 3-2.
Absolutely. He was running 2-0, then 3-1, and he'll certainly be running here. But again, you have to make sure the pitcher pitches. You cannot be picked off in this situation.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Blauser. There he goes. Blauser, a little comebacker to Witt. His play to first. Bullet over there. 2 out. And Mickey Morandini walks in. Well, they start the runner. Alexander. Blauser hits the comebacker to Witt, but they get the go-ahead run into scoring position for one of this game's better hitters, Mickey Morandini, who's been on base 4 times today with 3 hits.
He has a .421 average this year with runners in scoring position. That's second in the National League to Wally Joyner. Choose your poison. You can't put Morandini on and pitch to Grace, can you? I wouldn't.
The Cardinals have done it before.
To pitch to Grace with a right-hander out there?
We'll see. I mean, Dave Duncan runs out there, and I would imagine that would be the topic of discussion. The Cardinals have no one in the bullpen. Bobby Witt just got an out. They can't be talking mechanics.
No.
I think they're talking about whether Witt wants to pitch around Morandini or if he'll throw to him with Grace next, and they're going to pitch to him.
Yeah, another problem with that, again, is Witt's wildness. Not the fall behind Grace if you put him on.
Morandini looks at a ball low and away. Might be safe to say that Witt won't prove anything to Morandini here.
No, you do have a little room to maneuver here with first base open.
Go ahead run at second. That's Alexander with 2 out. And there's ball 2, and you kind of get the feeling they're pitching around Morandini to pitch to Grace. And if you didn't believe any of the talk we had earlier in this game about Morandini, you might if you watch him pitch around. This hitter with Grace on deck. Morandini came in at 326 hitter. He's up to 329. The ball gets loose out of the outfield. I believe from the Chicago bullpen, or one just dropped out of the stand. And McGee chases it down. So 2-0 on Morandini. Go ahead run Alexander at second with 2 out. 8-8 game, 13th inning. 3-0. We had this a couple weeks ago in Wrigley when the roles were reversed, but the Cubs were pitching around a hitter to get to Piazza. Didn't want to give him the intentional walk, to give him that extra little slap in the face, but they just pitched around the hitter, and Piazza ended up grounding the ball on the infield for an RBI ground out.
That hitter happened to be John Olerud, who is presently leading the National League in hitting.
So he hit a walk in the inning. And it's 2-on-2 out for Grace in an 8-8 game, 13th inning. Grace could put the Cubs back out in front. To the right side, McGwire. He hit it hard, but right at Big Mac. And this game goes to the bottom of the 13th inning. McGwire due up third. With a scoreless frame, it's still 8-8.
Pitchers. To the point where Jim Riggleman had some interesting comments between innings about his lineup and about whether to bring in Dave Stevens. And here it is.
Well, yeah, there is too. I can put. I couldn't put him far enough away. I need to get all the way to here and Blauser. Can't do it. I'm gonna bring Stevens in. We'll just have to put him in that spot.
Put him in that spot is the number 6 spot. And the last appearance for Dave Stevens was on Friday. Well, was last night when he worked 3 2/3 innings.
Well, you can understand then why he wants to bury Stevens in the batting order, and if for no other reason, he's got nobody else left in the bullpen. But you're right, Tim. Here's a guy who worked nearly 4 innings last night. Strictly a reliever, and he deals with the top of the lineup, which, if it doesn't end with Kelly or Jordan, will contain McGwire.
You'll take a win any way you can get it, but this is just a killer game for the Cubs if they lose this. A killer.
The 1-0 pitch to Kelly is high for ball 2, 2-0. We said it earlier, and now it's blatantly obvious, but this is the kind of game where you go through a bullpen like this after a 16-3 loss last night, where you don't recover in a hurry. So in a sense, the Cubs have already lost here this afternoon in one way, although they're dying for a victory. It's 3-0 on Kelly. They don't know what to expect out of Kerry Wood in his next start. Talked about shutting him down for a start. Latest word is he will pitch at San Francisco. Kelly takes a strike, and he might take another pitch. This is a bad time for the pitching to run out on Jim Riggleman. I'll tell you why in a second. The 3-1, a leadoff walk. This is game number 2 of a 9-game road trip for Chicago. They play here tomorrow afternoon, go to San Francisco for 3 games, so they're battling for that wild card spot. Then they go to Des Moines for an exhibition game, which couldn't come at a worse time. And then they go to Houston for 3 games. It's a bad time for your pitching to dry up. 1 on, nobody out for Jordan.
Cubs playing away from Wrigley Field after the All-Star game. Of the first 37, they have only 12 games in Chicago.
And here's a spot where, with somebody else at the plate and somebody else on deck, you would expect the bunt. The Cubs aren't even playing for the bunt.
Especially with the guy on deck being Mark McGwire. Why bunt him over?
An 8-8 game in the 13th inning. And a ball to Jordan. He's hitting .324, and Stevens, understandably, is having trouble throwing strikes.
This is such an interesting situation, and how McGwire and Sosa, they change every situation with their presence. Even if Jordan hits into a double play, you still have McGwire hitting with 2 out and nobody on, and a chance to win the ball game.
A leadoff walk, and the 1-0 pitch to Jordan from Stevens. Good pitch from the right-hander. As Tim mentioned, worked 3 2/3 innings last night and allowed 5 runs on 7 hits. Faced 20 hitters. One ball, 1 strike on Jordan. 1 on, nobody out. And a look at Kelly.
1-1 pitch to Jordan. 2-1. You're looking at the last remaining man on the bench, by the way, for a split second there for Tony La Russa. Placido Polanco. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Jordan. Kelly is running. The pitch is a strike, and Kelly is safe. Boy, that is a risk, and the Cardinals get the stolen base. Kelly's at second with nobody out. And it's 2-2 on Jordan.
You have to be more sure when you're running in this situation. You have a batter at the plate batting .327 on the year. You can see Kelly peeking back, and he is just safe at second. Throw by Scott Service. Not in time.
So Kelly is at second with nobody out. Now, even if you get Jordan, probably walk McGwire.
No question.
So, runner at second, nobody out. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jordan. And right back here. And I'm too tired to move. What a game.
Unbelievable.
Won't soon forget this. There's the open base at first after the steal by Kelly. Cubs hoping to get Jordan so they can walk McGwire. Here it is on 2-2. Jordan a base hit to left field. They will hold Kelly at third. And it's first and third. Nobody out with McGwire coming up. McGwire will get his chance, maybe, maybe not, here in the 13th. We would like to welcome those of you watching other games across the country. Jim Riggleman makes the long walk out to the mound. He's not going to make a change. We know that because he has no one left. We're in the 13th inning of an 8-8 game. Tim, it's first and third with nobody out. McGwire at the plate. The only thing he can do is end the game. You probably put him on, don't you?
I think you do. I mean, if you pitch to Mark McGwire, you're pitching to him with not only the infield in, but the outfield in. Because if you don't bring the outfield in, a sacrifice fly wins the ball game. So Brant Brown and the right fielder, Sammy Sosa, will both come in, and Sosa hadn't moved in yet.
Here's what Jim Riggleman said in that visit.
We'll walk this guy and get Lance in here. Let's just play 5 in here and throw the ball home. We got to get a ground ball, okay? Let's start your chances right there. We'll walk this guy, get you something down on the ground. If Ray hits it hard down, so what? You know, if you want to go up one time, you get a couple strikes on him to get him to chase way out of the zone, okay?
So the intentional walk being handed to McGwire to load the bases with nobody out, and Ray Langford will be the man with a chance to end what is turning out to be a 4.5-hour game. How do you like this defense by the Cubs?
He has 5 infielders for the Chicago Cubs. There are only 2 outfielders now. Brant Brown is the left center fielder. He's there. Sammy Sosa, the right center fielder. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cub infielders. And a left one to boot in the right smack in the middle. Hey, why not?
Bases loaded, nobody out for Ray Langford. He hit a 2-run home run with 2 out in the 11th inning to send us to the 12th off Rod Beck. And a strike to Langford, who outside of that home run to tie the game in the 11th has struck out 5 times this afternoon, tying a Cardinal record. Pat Kelly led off with a walk, stole a base. He's the winning run at third. Nobody out. Strike 2, and Stevens has got to be thinking strikeout. And with a day that Langford has had, so does Ray. He struck out 5 times this afternoon. McGee would follow. Nothing and 2 on Langford. Not close.
I wonder what Lance Johnson is thinking right now. He's right there. To my knowledge, he's never played the infield. Ball hit to him, he's got to come home.
Weird. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Langford. 8-8 game, 13th inning, and that's through the infield to win the game for St. Louis. 9-8. Langford somehow found a hole in that Chicago infield defense. A 4-hour, 25-minute game here in St. Louis. A 13-inning affair. And the first 2 games have been crazy here in St. Louis. The Cardinals and Cubs, and the Cardinals have won the first 2.
And once again, Ray Langford strikes out his first 5 times up. He ties it with a 2-run homer in the 10th and wins it here in the 13th with a single. And I agree with you. How do you find a hole? Get 5 infielders.
5 infielders, and Langford shot one through the right side, and the Cubs may take a long while to recover from this Saturday afternoon at Busch Stadium.
I don't think there's any question about it. They have to come back and try to beat the Cardinals tomorrow, but a very, very tough road trip.
You never know by that reaction that the Cardinals are 55-60 and 14.5 games out behind Houston in the National League Central Division. The winning pitcher, Bobby Witt. The losing pitcher, Stevens. And the Cubs, in a heavyweight fight, lose to the Cardinals in 13 innings, 9-8. For